Shuei breathed a long sigh of relief. This hard life of being a maid, she has been through it for 4 years and 10 months. Just grit your teeth and hold on for the last 2 months, and everything is going to end. By then, she can completely get rid of her current identity to welcome a new life. Actually, before coming here, she was just an ordinary worker, living an ordinary life every day. But who would have thought, just from staying up late and reading a novel, as soon as she opened her eyes, she had actually shrunk into a 13-year-old girl. An unfamiliar environment in a lost civilization. Anyone would go crazy if this kind of thing happened to them. She didn't know at that time that she had actually traveled into the world of the book. Only in chaos did she survive the first day, barely surviving in this place. Shuei's intuition told her, don't be pushy, don't even stir up trouble. Just mind your own business, do your job honestly and well, and you can stay there safely. So she worked hard every day, and except for washing clothes, she didn't think about anything else. A week passed peacefully like this. But on this day, the accident happened anyway. Shuei was busy when suddenly a hand reached out from behind. It immediately held her captive. This sudden change almost scared her soul away. Immediately afterwards, a burst of curses hit him in the face. It turned out that Grandma had come to the door, opening her mouth to ask her, have you completely forgotten about going home to visit relatives? Looking at the angry old lady in front of her, Shuei felt weak in her heart. After all, she was an imposter who had traveled through time. I don't even know this Grandma. What if I open my mouth and reveal my secret? That would be big trouble. But Grandma didn't give her any time to think. She reached out, grabbed her ears, and dragged her out without any explanation. Shuei could only cry out in pain while being watched by this hot-tempered old lady forcibly taken away from the scene. She thought she would be beaten severely when she got home, but as soon as she entered the door, the table was filled with hot stew. The contrast was too great. Grandma touched her head distressedly. Let's just say she had lost weight these past few days. Grandma went to the market specially to buy the best meat just to replenish her body. Looking at this sumptuous meal in front of her, Shuei felt mixed emotions in her heart. But before she could move her chopsticks, Grandma suddenly changed the subject, asking her why she had to be a little maid. The old lady thought, I can fully support her with my old bones. There's no need to go out and suffer that pain. This time, Shuei was completely in trouble. How could she refuse this kindness? Shuei finally figured it out now. The original owner just wanted a good life, having to go to work as an errand girl in this dragon's pond and tiger's den. After all, it was all to repay Grandma for her kindness in raising her. Looking at Grandma, who was busy in front of her, although Shuei wanted to retreat in her heart, the contract in black and white had been signed. She couldn't leave now even if she wanted to. They could only finish fulfilling this contract first and then talk about it. Grandma put meat into her bowl. She warned with a serious look on her face. Working in a place like that, you must be more careful. Although it is difficult to see the leader and young master usually, what if it really happens? That's definitely no joke. Grandma warned with a serious expression, in the sect you must avoid the eldest young master Chihu Bai. That guy is notoriously cruel. Although he hasn't officially taken over yet, he is already the strongest candidate for the next leader. Hearing this name, Shuei's heart skipped a beat. The next demon, this name, sounded too familiar. It turned out that before she traveled through time, this was from a martial arts novel she had read, featuring the most troublesome villain. To confirm the situation, she quickly asked for the second young master's name. When Grandma said the 3 words Qi Jian, Shuei's whole body did not feel well. Of all the stories, why did I get into this book? This was the most popular martial arts novel at the time. It was about the history of the demonic religion, the story of the birth of the strongest demon. There were decent sects, evil sects, and demonic sects in the book, and the 3 parties fought fiercely, but all the high points all focused on the protagonist's invincible martial arts and the plot of decisive killing. And the one praised to heaven by readers, the protagonist known as the ceiling of combat effectiveness. His name was Qi Jian. In the setting of the book, he was a ruthless character through and through. Qi Jian had a face that was simply the beauty ceiling in the sect, no matter where he went. It could make a lot of fans scream. It was simply an idol-level existence, but only Shuei knew clearly, hidden under the skin, what kind of monster he truly was. In the original novel, he was simply a murderous devil. As long as he was in a bad mood, even if someone just waved a hand in front of him, there would be only one end. That meant being torn into pieces by his own hands. This was not a job. This was clearly dancing on the tip of a knife. Just because his lover said something back, he could strangle people to death with his own hands. Even his own father and brothers were all killed by him. This was Qi Jian, a complete madman. Since she couldn't go back to the real world, Shuei could only find a way to survive here. She gave herself a death order, which meant she absolutely could not have anything to do with Qi Jian. Fortunately, the plot hadn't officially started yet. She still had 5 years of her maid contract to fulfill. As long as during these 5 years she treated herself as a transparent person, this should be able to save her little life. The screen returns to the present. In the past 5 years, Shuei had been trying to survive, simply more tolerable than a cockroach. But the hard days were finally over. 2 more months and her contract was about to officially expire. The first thing she would do after regaining freedom, she had already thought out clearly. That meant taking Grandma with her and immediately escaping from the demon cult, a place of right and wrong. As long as they ran far enough, it would be impossible in this life to have another encounter with that lunatic Qi Jian. When the time came, the sky would be high and the birds would fly. No one could threaten her life again. And having been frugal these years, she had saved a lot of private money in her hands. She would take grandma to go sightseeing and live a rich life. That would be a real life. Just when Shuei was still having sweet dreams, her companion Sushu hurried over, running and shouting her name. It looked like something big had happened. Sushu grabbed Shuei's hand, her voice trembling with excitement. She said that Shu-hee was lucky, and her luck in this life would probably all be spent today. Congratulations, Shuei, you have been chosen as the second young master's personal maid. The girls in the sect right now are probably going crazy with envy. Hearing the news, Shuei was stunned on the spot. The second young master, isn't that the murderer Jeok Igeon? Shuei couldn't react at all for a while. This news was like a bolt from the blue. Hiding for 5 years, the contract was about to expire, and the result at the last moment was that she still couldn't escape. Mrs. Guo smiled and nodded, confirming this matter was already a done deal. Shu-hee was completely stunned. She originally thought she could retire safely, but in the end, this was the news that was waiting for her. Mrs. Guo went on to say, the second young master is famous for being clean. That's why I specifically recommended you. Such a smart girl. Looking at Shuei-hee, who didn't say anything for a long time, Mrs. Guo thought she was too excited and said comforting words quickly. Don't be so grateful, you deserve this. Shuei-hee couldn't even cry now, even if she wanted to. How was this a promotion and a salary increase? This was obviously like falling into a fire pit. In the eyes of others, being the second young master's personal maid was like smoke coming out of ancestral graves. Not only did wages double, but there was even a chance to fly up a branch and become a phoenix. If it were anyone else, they would probably have to kneel on the ground to thank the Lord for his grace. But by some twist of fate, she was an exception. She was silent for a long time and suddenly refused. She said, this job, I really can't do it myself. Mrs. Guo was completely confused now. Such a good opportunity, no one else could even ask for it. And you actually said you couldn't do it. As a result, Shuei's next words were even more jaw-dropping. She said she had already planned to work for another 2 months at most, and then she was going to resign completely and leave. Shuei started acting. She put on a filial look, saying she was worried about grandma's health. The work in this house was too heavy, so she had to go back and fulfill her filial piety. Mrs. Guo sighed, looking like there was nothing she could do with her. She said that since you have made up your mind, then I can't force you to stay. Shuei was feeling happy thinking this trick of retreating in order to advance had worked. As a result, Mrs. Guo changed the subject, saying that since you have to work for another 2 months during that period of time, just go and serve the second young master first. Shuei was completely dumbfounded now. She wanted to find an excuse to run away, but unexpectedly she was trapped in it instead. Looking at Mrs. Guo's meaningful smile, only then did Shuei react. Her little cleverness was not good enough in other people's eyes. She really couldn't leave now. Shuei still wanted to struggle a little more. She suggested that Mrs. Guo just find a long-term successor, which would save her from having to choose again in 2 months. As a result, Mrs. Guo immediately killed her argument with one move, saying, for someone like you who is both literate and fluent, where can I find a second young master's place? I don't trust anyone else except you. That's all we talked about. Mrs. Guo never gave her a chance to refuse, just handed over a manual and ordered her to report early tomorrow morning, and she must memorize it all within today. Shuei still wanted to plead for mercy, but as a result, Mrs. Guo came directly to her ear and asked with a smile, you should know what I mean. Looking at Mrs. Guo's kind but scary smile, Shuei knew this time. She had really hit a nail. In addition to nodding in agreement, she had no second choice at all. As soon as Shu had no second choice, Grandma thought she was injured outside, or maybe she had lost her wages. She only found out after asking that it was because she didn't want to be that personal maid. Grandma couldn't even laugh or cry after hearing this, saying that your voice was so loud it almost lifted the roof off just for this little thing. Shui was so anxious that she slapped the table. How can this be a trivial matter? In case the service is not good, that could make you lose your head at any time. Grandma was so angry that she gave her a rap on the head. The second young master is not a murderer. It's not as magnified as you said. Even if you make a little mistake, it won't kill you. Shui felt extremely wronged, feeling that in the eyes of those big shots, the life of a maid is not a life at all. Like a small insect that can be easily crushed to death. Grandma scolded her angrily, if you are really so timid, why did you want to work in this house in the first place? Grandma thought this girl had changed her nature. In the past, she was not afraid of anything, so why was she so cowardly now? Shui murmured in her heart, you can't say that there's a new soul in this body, right? Grandma thought she just thought too much, served a table of delicious food directly, and ordered her to eat quickly. How could Shui think about eating now? But looking at Grandma's stern eyes, she was afraid she won't be able to leave until she finished eating. No other choice. Shui could only turn grief and anger into appetite. She asked while chewing her rice, why did the previous maid stop doing it? Grandma asked about the previous maid, saying that if that girl hadn't suddenly resigned, it would not be Shu Se, his turn to do this job. Shui thought about it while eating. There was no description of these cannon fodder characters in the original work. But according to the cruelty of the second young master Jeok Igeon, that girl was probably dead a long time ago. As soon as these words were implied, Grandma immediately changed her tone. She stared at Shui and asked, what the hell did you hear? Why are you so sure she's dead? Only then did Shui react. I accidentally spoke the truth. She quickly changed her tune. I didn't see it with my own eyes either. It was just a random guess. Grandma lowered her voice and said, I heard that Chi Li-jian likes to play with poisons the most. If the rumors are true, it would be difficult to survive in that mansion. Shui, he hadn't reacted yet. Grandma had already gotten up and walked upstairs, letting her go up there immediately after eating, saying she had something to give to her. Looking at Grandma's serious back, this meal suddenly didn't taste good anymore. What was the important thing that had to be so mysterious? Shui opened Grandma's cabinet and she was thoroughly confused. What was in this box turned out to be the legendary poison-avoiding bead. Even money can't buy this baby. How could you hide it in your cabinet? Shui's first reaction was, did Grandma take away the money she had worked so hard to save and spend it all? Grandma was anxious when she heard this. Who cares about your hard-earned money? Shui, he became more patient. Since she didn't buy it, where did this thing come from? Grandma's expression became a little weird. It seemed that behind this treasure there were still many secrets hidden. Grandma said playfully, this treasure was left behind by a customer at the noodle shop. Shay, he didn't believe it at all after hearing this. Who would use a poison-avoiding bead as a magical item and just throw it away in a noodle shop? Grandma started to counter her, saying this thing can't deal with real poisons. At most, it's a psychological comfort. Since you dislike it so much, then I'll take it back. Sui-hee was now anxious and grabbed it quickly. Although she had questioned it, this was a life-saving treasure. She hugged her grandma and acted coquettishly. As expected, only Grandma loved her the most in this world. Shui-hee was finally at ease now. There must be nothing wrong with what Grandma gave her. No matter where this treasure came from, as long as it could save her life, it was stronger than anything. She hugged her grandma and acted coquettishly, having already thought of a way out. Waiting for this poison test period to pass and to come back safely, she would just take Grandma out of here and live in the stable days of traveling far and wide. It was the next day in a blink of an eye. Shuhei, he officially entered the estate. She heard that Chi Li-jian was a prominent person, so she thought there would be a lot of people jealous of her. Just entering the house, this atmosphere was so depressing. There were malicious looks everywhere, all staring at Shuei's back. It seemed that today was destined to be unavoidable. She hadn't taken 2 steps yet and trouble came to the door proactively. Several girls blocked the way, and the one who took the lead spoke with sarcasm, saying she didn't expect her to be this kind of person, and that she was really brave. Shui was confused after hearing this. Which script was this from? She really couldn't leave now. 3 people surrounded the path tightly. Looking at this posture, today they had no intention of letting Shui go. Shui recognized them at a glance. These people were seniors in the mansion, but as soon as the other party opened her mouth, the smell of gunpowder came up. They thought Shui wanted to climb a high branch. How dare you take advantage of Chi Li-jian? One even teased her that she was daydreaming. Shui laughed angrily after hearing this. Who is dreaming? Do these people really have no idea? These people were going too far. Not only using Shui's life experience as an example, but she even started insulting her grandma, saying her upbringing was not good and that she specifically learned how to seduce men. Those girls were laughing there, seeing that Shui didn't move for a long time, thinking she was frightened. As a result, Shui sneered, asking, "Are you waiting for my reply?" Shui Sipoting was simply sharp and direct. She said bluntly, "I am indeed quite capable, but I just can't understand this nonsense." As soon as these words came out, the girls across from her were furious on the spot. Since they couldn't win with cheap talk, they might as well do it directly. Looking at the slap coming towards her, this situation was completely out of control. No one expected it, but Shui looked gentle, yet her skills were so fast. The opponent's slap had not yet fallen, and she fell down first and ate dirt. Shui clapped her hands with a brilliant smile. She said her grandma had taught her since she was a child that, when girls go out, you must learn how to defend yourself. Since they were so interested, then please come and feel my methods for yourself. Looking at the intense aura behind Shui, these people finally knew what it meant to hit a brick wall. The scream just now hadn't gone away yet, and Shui started to talk sense into these people. She said that everyone really misunderstood. All the maids in the mansion were staring at Chi Li-jian, but she just wasn't interested at all. The reason was even more unexpected. She said she was born with a unique taste, and the thing she hated most in her life was handsome guys. So in her eyes, Chi Li-jian was simply an inevitable disaster. This logic completely defeated the 3 people on the opposite side. Shuai did not forget to give a warning at the end. Now that everything had been made clear, no one should bother her with such nonsense in the future. Looking at Shui's back as she left in a carefree manner, these people stood there and didn't come back to their senses for a long time. Shui completely turned the tables in this wave. It was just too satisfying. The few people who were so aggressive just now, in the blink of an eye, she sent them to work. She also looked serious when she spoke, advising everyone to get along well in the future. But no one noticed in the shadow of the tree next to them there was actually someone hiding all this time. Chi Li-jian sat high up, watching the scene just now, and heard it clearly. He repeated meaningfully, "A disaster? It seems that the next few days are getting more and more interesting." That scene just now. Only now did Shui come back to her senses. She was so impulsive. She had promised to keep a low profile, but as a result, she turned around and forgot about it. She was still anxious in her heart, so far from the gate. Chi Li-jian probably didn't hear it, right? After all, he is only 19 years old now. No matter how powerful he is, It's not like he can hear everything with the wind, right? But how could she know that what she just said, not a single word was missed, and it all got into his ears? Shui stood at the door and took a deep breath, keeping herself grounded. Just behave well, and the next days will be stable. Although she wanted to go home 10,000 times now that she had opened this door, the work officially started. As the exclusive maid on the first day of work, you still had to have basic courtesy. She slowly stretched out her hand. Behind this door, what kind of trouble was hiding there? It would be revealed soon. She was completely confused now. Originally, I had done a good job of mental preparation, but as a result, I looked up and the person standing in front of me was actually Tiangong. This reversal happened too quickly. Her whole body was frozen in place. She even doubted whether she had seen it wrong. Look at how flustered she was. Even Tiangong was confused. This was the first day of work, how to avoid unexpected situations. Everyone looked carefully. This is a heavyweight character in the novel. The future Bloodsword Soul, Tiangong. Not only is his combat power off the charts, but he is also the #1 contributor to the unification of the martial arts world. But in Shui Hai's, he was the one and only innocent male god. The idol was standing in front of her alive. Who could bear this? Tiangong was not only handsome, but his words were extremely gentle. He took the initiative to say hello and also thoughtfully asked Shui Hai to go inside and wait. But he also brought a definitive message. Young Master Qi Lijian would be back soon. Shui sneaked into the room cautiously. Don't look at how quiet this house is now. In fact, there's danger everywhere, especially that bed. It is simply an absolute restricted area built by Qi Lijian. She heard that women in the past who had bad intentions didn't even get a chance to beg for mercy before losing their lives. The result was better now. Making the bed was such a nerve-wracking task, and it was actually her turn, the little maid. I can only say that this Qi Lijian is indeed too formidable. That's why so many people knew they might die and still jumped into the fire pit. In the novel, Qi Lijian is highly praised, said to be more beautiful than women. Shui didn't believe it at first, thinking it was crazy to risk your life, just to look at a face. As a result, the real owners showed up. This appearance was indeed a bit unreasonable. Even if she knew he was a dangerous person, it was also hard to look away. Shui finally understood now why so many people knew they might die, and were still going to jump into this fire pit. She was really afraid of what would happen. Shui hasn't come back to her senses yet, and Qi Lijian was already standing in front of her. This sense of oppression at close range just makes a person panic on the spot. This look was absolutely amazing. Shui thought handsome was the best way to describe it. He looked a little pale. If it weren't for that terrifying murderous aura, she really wanted to keep watching like this. But at this moment, Qi Lijian suddenly spoke. Shui quickly scolded herself to wake up. It's crazy. This is a devil who kills without blinking an eye. How can you be in a daze looking at your enemy's face? She bravely said loudly, I'm the new maid, Shu Hei. Before Qi Lijian could speak, with the effort of slipping away, she disappeared. The contrast was too great. Just now, she looked like she was not afraid of anything. So how come in a blink of an eye she was so cowardly like this? Qi Lijian looked at her back. He thought this girl running away was just like a frightened little squirrel. Shehi's mind was now filled with fear. I just stared at him for so long. Shouldn't he silence me? Having worked all afternoon, Shehi was so tired, but her heart still couldn't calm down, obviously knowing that the other person is a madman. In the end, I was deceived by that face. When I used to read the book, I still wondered why everyone was obsessed with him. Now seeing it with my own eyes, this appearance is indeed unfair. She couldn't even concentrate on her work. Just when she was thinking wildly, the moment she opened the door, the sight before her eyes made her stop completely. Who would have thought the movement of Qi Lijian practicing his sword could make such a big impact? The more Shui He looked at it, the more something seemed wrong. In this one move, there was obviously no internal energy fluctuation at all. But this power was almost tearing the air apart. You can do this through sheer physical strength alone. This is completely unscientific. How did he do it? Qi Lijian finally stopped moving. Practice like this does consume a lot of energy. Shui He looked from the side and was fascinated again. She secretly complained in her heart, the men in this estate, why is it that each one looks more striking than the last? She suddenly came back to her senses. Now was not the time to admire. Nothing serious had been done yet. She whispered, I have to hurry up and prepare dinner. Rather than looking at handsome guys, isn't it more important to keep my job? The sunset hung in the sky. Such a busy day was finally over. Shay was holding the prepared meal and politely greeted Tiangong, who was guarding the door. Tiangong turned aside and said that Qi Lijian was in the house, just letting her go in directly. But as soon as the door was pushed open, Shay He was dumbfounded. The scene inside the house completely defied her expectations. Something big was really going to happen now. Qi Lijian had just finished taking a shower. His hair was not dry yet, just sitting there so loosely. Shay He looked at him and muttered, what's going on with this guy? After taking a shower, he came out without tidying up. This scene really makes people unable to calm down. She quickly put her mind away and served hot meals to the table. Qi Lijian stared at the contents of the bowl. Apparently it was the first time he had encountered it. He asked hesitantly, what kind of dish is this? Shu Yi explained, this is specially made chicken noodle soup. Look at him, he looks like he has never seen the world. I don't know about this Qi Lijian. Either can he get used to this home-cooked taste, Shu He was busy introducing it, saying this chicken noodle soup is very nourishing, best for conditioning the body, but the words were only half spoken when suddenly her heart skipped a beat. Oh no, this pasta was eaten by common people in ancient times. No wonder when I just went to the kitchen to ask for ingredients, the way those cooks looked at her seemed inexplicable. She was so embarrassed now that she wanted to find a crack in the ground and crawl into it, even wanting to take the noodles away. But Chi Li Jian had already picked up the chopsticks. This pampered Chi Li Jian, can he really swallow this bowl of common people's food? Who would have thought not only did Chi Li Jian not dislike it, on the contrary, it tasted particularly delicious to him. The whole room was filled with the sound of eating. Shu stood aside and didn't dare to move, just waiting for the final judgment. As a result, Chi Li Jian ate all the food directly. He even praised it for the first time. Tastes good, it's definitely more filling than usual meals. This time Shu he was completely stunned. I thought I was going to cause trouble, but it turned out to be a success. She was about to respond when the next words got stuck in her throat. Now Shu could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Look at Chi Li Jian eating so deliciously. She hurried over and asked, "Do you want me to serve you another bowl?" Tangong watched from the side and sighed, saying Chi Li Jian often skipped meals. Not only did he eat everything today, he actually ordered a second bowl for the first time. Only then did Shu He react. This home-cooked meal of her own had become Chi Li Jian's saving grace. Looking at Tiangong's warm smile, Shu felt comfort in her heart. She found that Tiangong had also been busy all day, and it seemed like he never bothered to eat. She asked Tiangong with concern if he was hungry. As a result, the other party politely reminded her, "You are Chi Li Jian's maid, just take care of him alone." Although this was said gently, the distance was suddenly widened. It seems that in this deep house compound, everyone has their own rules that they must abide by. He didn't want to accept this. In her opinion, food is essential. If you don't eat well, how can you have the strength to work? She directly took out a rice ball and pushed it forward. Tiangong was still hesitant there, feeling like this was someone else's consideration for her, and it's really not appropriate to take it himself. He just made it clear, saying they had plenty over there, and it would be really embarrassing if he refused again. In fact, she had a little calculation in her mind. It's rare to see the man she admired, and he can eat it. That's all we talked about. Tiangong finally stopped insisting and accepted this gesture with a smile. This feeling of giving warmth to the male god made Shui's whole body light. She bid farewell to Tiangong happily, sighing in her heart at the joy of providing food. The result was not happy for 2 seconds. Extreme joy directly led to sorrow. Just with a thud, she felt like she had hit a wall of flesh. Looking up, Shui froze on the spot. It was not someone else standing in front of you. It was the unpredictable Chi Li Jian. Look at his cold expression. The trouble is really big now. Shui was completely confused now. She kept wondering in her heart, could it be that I did something wrong just now and got into trouble again accidentally? Chi Li Jian just stood there coldly, not saying a word. Just when the atmosphere was about to solidify, he actually turned around and left. Until that feeling of oppression disappeared, Shui felt like she was alive. Again, it seems that I really thought too beautifully before, thinking that a bowl of noodles could make him change his nature. A dangerous person like Chi Li Jian, how could it be possible for him to become gentle so easily? That feeling of escaping death just now made her wake up instantly. The next days, I'm afraid, will only be more difficult. Never take it lightly again. Not even for a second. Chi Li Jian just said nothing, and only an elusive figure remained as he disappeared at the end of the corridor. I thought I was completely out of favor this time, and Chi Li Jian would definitely not let me go. In the end, he had no intention of taking action. Instead, it's like he's become a different person, with a sudden and shocking appetite. I prepare food in different ways every day. I'm exhausted now, running back and forth in Zixing Pavilion all day long. It's just going to kill me from overwork. Did he do it on purpose, wanting to torment me in this way to keep me busy every day? Just when I thought life would always be like this, a real turning point was coming soon. The current Zixing Pavilion is simply buzzing. Just because of Chi Li Jian's words, these girls are all crazy, grabbing clothes and putting on makeup there. Who would have thought they used to avoid him? Even the shifts were secretly changed. The result was better now. She directly became his personal maid. Even the sisters around her saw it, and one said with a smile, "I used to think you were avoiding him like you were avoiding the god of plague, and I'm really afraid something will happen to you. I can only ask awkwardly, turns out you already knew." She said, "Look at how I look now, I can finally breathe a sigh of relief." However, ever since I became this maid, the real trouble, I'm afraid, is just the beginning. Sushi suddenly came over to get close to her, calling Shui with a flattering look on her face. It turned out to be about Chi Li Jian. She asked mysteriously, "Since you are now the prominent person beside the young master, can you teach me privately how to please him?" Shui was completely speechless now. "I am so busy every day that my feet never touch the ground." Yet in the eyes of others, it turned out to be the choice position that everyone envied. What's more troublesome is that keeping an eye on this secret, she's not the only one. Look at the glowing eyes around her. Shui knew clearly it's real now, and she can't even explain it. Who can bear this situation? Shui was surrounded tightly by these girls. She shouted as she stepped back, "Wait a minute, I really don't know anything." It was hard to squeeze out of the crowd, and she couldn't help complaining. The popularity of this guy Chi Li Jian is so outrageous. Originally, I just wanted to be a low-profile person and stay safe until the day I resign and leave. The result was different now. It directly became the focus of the entire pavilion. Shu-hee kept cheering herself up in her heart. Just hold on for another 2 months. Even if there are some rumors now, those big figures definitely won't care either. Just when she thought she could get away with it, suddenly a voice came from behind. Shu-hee stopped and asked, "What's the matter?" The leading woman stood with arms folded and her tone didn't sound very friendly. She said, "Today, it's your turn to prepare bathwater for the young master. This job sounds simple, but at this juncture, I'm afraid it's not that easy to deal with." Prepare bathwater. He didn't react at all now. In the black and white manual, it never mentioned this. The girls opposite quickly explained, saying that this was the personal order of the young master Qi Lijian. They also said that usually everyone takes turns doing it. It's just that they were too busy that day and forgot to tell her in advance. This reason sounds outrageous. It's obvious that because Shu-hee is a newcomer, they are working together to fool her here. But that's all we talked about. She can't shirk it anymore, can only be silent for a while and bite the bullet to agree. Anyone can see it, this errand is definitely a huge trouble. After explaining all these tasks, these people turn and leave. Shu-hee stood alone, not to mention how frustrated she was. What does "see you later" mean? In short, everyone is off work. Just leaving her to work overtime here alone. This kind of workplace bullying is too obvious. Looking at Shu-hee's leading figure, the woman who took the lead had already made plans in her mind. This is not a simple division of labor. It was clear that a trap had been dug for her, just waiting for her to jump in. Shu-hee could only prepare it alone. Looking at the steaming bathwater in front of her, she was still glad in her heart. Fortunately, the water temperature was adjusted just right. Shu-hee stayed alone by the bathtub, her heart in a mess. Think carefully, this is still after that incident, the first time she met Qi Lijian alone. Although her heart is pounding, he will never get started as soon as they meet. It might kill her. Just then there was a push at the door. Shu-hee was so frightened that she quickly hid behind the screen, not even daring to take a breath. Qi Lijian walked in slowly. The sound of footsteps was particularly clear in the empty room. With the sound of water, he had already sat in the bathtub, separated by a thin screen. The real drama now officially started. Qi Lijian sat in the bathtub and suddenly asked, "Today's bathwater, is it the new person in charge?" Shu-hee, who was hiding behind the screen, quickly agreed. "I feel very anxious, afraid that I'm doing something wrong to make this young master unhappy." As a result, the owner spoke. "Today's water temperature seems to be hotter than usual." Shu-hee was completely panicked now, quickly asking if the water was too hot. After all, she prepared it according to her previous habits. In case the other party doesn't adapt, that would be big trouble. Didn't expect Qi Lijian to reply calmly, "No, I prefer the current temperature." Even he felt strange now. He usually hated the rules being broken. But today, when faced with this impudent maid, he didn't feel annoyed at all. Looking at Shu-hee hiding in the distance, Qi Lijian couldn't help but think in his heart, why is this woman always guarding against him like a thief? This abnormal feeling makes him even more unpredictable. Qi Lijian remembers it very clearly. In the past, when this woman saw him, it was as if she had seen a ghost and not even a shadow dared to fall on him. But recently, she just seems like a different person. Appetizing cold noodles will be delivered shortly. After a while, the quilt was warmed in the sun again. Even every time she leaves, she would show him that bright smile. Qi Lijian looked at her smile, wondering. As a result, he turned around and saw she also smiled so sweetly at Tiangong. Now he felt completely unhappy. This enthusiasm is not a privilege given to him, but she treats everyone equally. This inexplicable irritability made him unable to sit still. He directly called Shu-hee, wanting to ask clearly in person, what kind of trick is this woman playing? Shu-hee was called to the front, asking cautiously, what on earth does the young master want to find her for? Qi Lijian sat in the water, his tone sounding sharp. He stared at Shu-hee and asked, "Shu-hee, what did you just give Tiangong?" Shu-hee was shocked by this sentence. She was stunned on the spot when asked about giving something. She had no memory of giving anything significant to anyone. Looking at Qi Lijian's serious look, Shu-hee was so frightened that she quickly waved her hand and explained, saying that she never did it privately. "Have you ever given anything to the young master?" Qi Lijian snorted coldly, making it clear directly. He's talking about Tiangong. Shu-hee was even more confused now. How is it that everything is about Tiangong? Shu-hee was even more confused now. How is it that everything is about Tiangong again? Only then did Shu-hee react. It turns out that the young master is focused on that rice ball. She quickly explained, looking surprised at Xian-mei. Tiangong didn't bother to eat, so I gave him one casually. Qi Lijian snorted coldly after hearing this, his tone full of irritation. He whispered, "You gave it to Tiangong, but you didn't give it to me." Oh no. Shu-hee realized that something was wrong. This is the warning signal in the original novel. As long as this guy starts talking to himself, that means someone is going to be in trouble. In the original direction of the story, after this soliloquy, it was often followed by the cruelest punishment. Big trouble now. Could it be that she herself would follow in the footsteps of those people? Before Shu-hee could react, Qi Lijian had already moved directly in front of her. That suffocating sense of oppression instantly enveloped her whole body. Shu-hee only had one thought left in her heart. Is it just for a rice ball? I have to answer for myself here today. This way to die is too frustrating and ridiculous. Shuei knelt on the ground with a thud, begging desperately for mercy. She just hoped that this young master could let her go. Just endure it for a few more months and it's all over, we can't just die here. But Qi Lijian felt baffled. He asked, leaning against the tub, when did I say I was going to kill you? Is it being spread outside that I would eat my own maid? Shuei was so frightened that she quickly denied it. It's really getting more tense now. Shui's mouth looked like it had been covered with honey, while crazily praising Qi Lijian and humbly asking for a chance to explain. But looking at the other party's expression of watching a show, she had already cursed in her heart. This guy is obviously playing a trick. To save her life, she quickly noted the rice balls given to Tiangong, devaluing them into worthless leftovers. She even offered, I want to make a supper for this young master with my own hands. Qi Lijian smiled and this matter was finally over for the time being. Shuei quickly found an excuse to run away, saying she was going to prepare a midnight snack, and finally escaped from that room. Watching her leaving back, Qi Lijian showed a smile. This woman really suits him. Shuei, walking on the path, had a heart full of resentment. If you want to eat a rice ball, just say so. Do you have to scare people half to death? Shuei complained in her heart as she walked. It's been such a scary day. The original novel didn't say that this guy was focused on food. Escape from this hellish place later. You must go to Grandma to vent. Just then, suddenly someone called her name from behind. Shuei looked back. It turned out to be senior sister Jiai. The other party also mysteriously asked her to keep quiet. Shuei murmured in her heart, I'm not familiar with this senior sister at all. In the middle of the night, why did she suddenly appear here? Jiai came running over in the middle of the night, and it was actually to celebrate Shuei, celebrating her completing a full week as a maid to that difficult young master. Shui's first reaction was fear, worried that she would be discovered if she left her post without permission. After all, Qi Lijian is not someone to be trifled with. Jiai smiled and took her hand, saying that she had already figured out the young master's daily routine. After taking a shower, it's time for him to read a book. No one would notice her absence at all. Before Shuei could hesitate any longer, she was forcibly dragged away. It seems that this gathering of old employees, she can't avoid it. Going deeper into the woods, Shuei's heart beat faster, said to celebrate, but this place is too remote. Just when she was wondering if she was taking the wrong route, suddenly a voice came from the front. Finally willing to show up, Shuei took a closer look. It turned out that someone had been waiting in the woods for a long time. This setup, it seems that tonight's party is not simple. Shuei reacted now. What kind of celebration party is this? It's clearly a trap. No wonder Jie spoke strangely just now. Before she could stand still, Jie on the other side attacked first, questioning Shuei if she knows the rules. When seeing a senior, she didn't even say hello. The atmosphere instantly dropped to freezing point. Jie chose this posture. It's clear that she wants to show off her power. The people next to her quickly came out to smooth things over, letting Jie stop scaring people. But this is obviously a classic routine. One bad cop, one good cop. This tonight won't be that easy. Jie smiled so arrogantly, saying Shuei is just relying on a face, and as a result, she was left out in the cold by the second young master Shuei. He understood everything now. What rules and regulations? These people are just jealous of her being able to be Qi Lijian's personal maid. Jie said this while pushing Shuei with her hands, also using her status as a senior to oppress others. False accusation that Shuei dared to attack his senior. Shuei had no intention of swallowing her anger and replied directly. It was the opponent who made the first move. The words just fell and the scene was completely out of control. This time they were really going to break logic. Jiai's slap came fast and hard. Although Shuei narrowly escaped, her heart was also angry. The other party actually dared to take action directly. Shuei understood everything now. No wonder they brought her here specially. Doing it in this wilderness, it is indeed a good place to hide traces. Missing a hit, Jie was completely irritated, saying with a sneer, I just wanted to slap you, now I have to make you suffer a little bit. The situation suddenly got out of control, and Jiai's offensive became more and more fierce. But no one expected that Shuei actually showed off exquisite footwork. Even Jie was mistaken. Jie and the others were still watching the scene, thinking they could find a way to support her. Then they could hold Shuei steadily. But what about the result? The more Jie fought, the more frightened she became. This girl was as nimble as a loach, unable to even touch the corners of her clothes. Jie was completely anxious now, attacking fiercely while screaming to see how long she could hide. It's a pity that they all judge wrong. Shihi is not a soft target. Shihi really didn't want to endure it this time. Since the opponent is pressing harder and harder, then let her see it. The method taught by Mrs. Guo. This move was neat and tidy. Jie, who was so arrogant just now, was knocked to the ground in an instant, not even getting a chance to fight back. Jie next to her was frightened out of her wits. Who would have thought that Shuei, who usually looks docile, used her hands so decisively? Shuei looked at Jie, who fell to the ground, very measured in her heart. Although this was enough for her to endure, it was not enough to kill her. It's true that the mantis stalks the cicada while the oriole stalks behind. Shuei didn't even have time to take a breath when another wave of ambush unexpectedly appeared in the woods. These guys moved very fast, apparently having been watching from the dark for a long time. She hasn't reacted yet when she was grabbed from behind. The man suddenly pulled out his dagger and yelled against Shuei's neck. Get out of my way, everyone, otherwise I will kill her now. The situation reversed instantly. Who would have thought that Shui actually became a hostage in the hands of the other party? Shui was really speechless now. I'm afraid this kidnapper is out of his mind. To take hostages, pick a person of rank. What's the use of catching a little maid like her? The result was just as she expected. The pursuers on the other side didn't care about her life or death. The steps didn't stop at all. Instead, they were getting closer and closer. The kidnapper saw that this trick was useless, and the knife in his hand was tightened further. But at this moment when life hangs on a thread, Shui suddenly realized something was wrong. Wait, this situation seems completely different from what she thought. It's bad. It's no joke this time. The cold blade turned sharp, and blood flowed down the neck. The cold blade was on her neck. Shui was really desperate now. Grandma, what should I do? No matter which power is out there, please help me. In this despair, she didn't dare to open her eyes at all. Is it today that she really has to end it here? At this critical moment, a red light broke through the sky. The man hadn't reacted yet when he was instantly knocked away, and screams cut through the night. Shui narrowly escaped death, looking at the opponent lying on the ground, her mind full of questions. That move just now, could it be the legendary broken jade bullet? This is the secret skill of a top master, definitely not something ordinary people can use. Who is it hiding in the shadows that saved her life? The mysterious man who saved Shui finally turned around. No one expected the person appearing here turned out to be him, Jeok Igeon. He took steps, coming here step by step. This time, no one could escape. I clearly promised to keep a low profile. Why did you suddenly appear here? Shui hasn't come back to her senses yet, and her chin was pinched by him. He stared at the injury on her neck, not saying a word. Just then, he suddenly looked behind him and red light burst out instantly. It seemed someone was going to be unlucky. If this blow landed, I'm afraid that person would die on the spot. Is it today that she really has to see him kill someone with her own eyes? At this critical moment, a voice suddenly sounded. The figure shouted loudly, "Stop!" The red light in Li Jian's hand then slowly dispersed. Everyone fell to their knees. The scene was completely silent. No one dared to look up at him. Wait a moment, things are getting serious. This man in front of her, the identity is terrifying. He's the first of the 10 martial arts masters, recognized as #1 in the world. Such a legendary figure, why did he come here in person? The leader is coming. Things are really going to change now. Everyone in the audience fell to their knees. Welcome, Lord Demon. This scene, just looking at it, makes one feel the pressure. Gong Peichuan walked forward quickly, saluting respectfully to Jeok Igeon. Second young master, long time no see. He looked at the young man in front of him and said, "Haven't seen you for a while, you are becoming more and more outstanding." Jeok Igeon had no intention of being polite, naming the person directly, Lord of the Ghost Pavilion. This is Gong Peichuan, the strategist of the demon cult, and he is also the head of the Ghost Pavilion. Shui could tell at a glance that this man looked gentle and polite like a scholar, and didn't look like a martial artist at all. Just then, Jeok Igeon changed the topic, asking while pointing to the person on the ground, "Who is this person? Where does this person come from? Is it worth such a big effort to catch him?" Gong Peichuan had no choice but to explain. This guy is a spy of the Wulin Alliance, who lurked under a false identity for 5 years and was just revealed a few days ago. I originally wanted to keep him as a double agent, but as a result he noticed, and that's why there was such a big commotion. Jeok Igeon sneered after hearing this. I heard that the screening in Ghost Pavilion is very strict. How could such mistakes still occur? Gong Peichuan quickly bowed his head and admitted his mistake, saying that this was his dereliction of duty as the head of the pavilion. But then he changed the subject, questioning Jeok Igeon. The second young master personally took action in the middle of the night. What is it for? Jeok Igeon looked indifferent. My maid is in danger, of course I have to take care of it. Jeok Igeon pointed confidently at Shui. Who do you think is in danger? Isn't she my maid? He explained, I just heard the noise and came over here, and happened to see her being held hostage by that guy. Shui listened nearby and was stunned for a moment, unable to believe her ears. He actually said he came specifically to save me? Gong Peichuan looked suspicious. For such a little girl, the second young master actually takes action personally? The leader kept staring at Shui high on the ground, his tone calm but making people feel more pressure. Stand up, look into my eyes, and talk. Shui's heart went crazy. I'm really afraid of what will happen. There's really no way to escape now. She could only stand up bravely. This raising of her head, the situation became completely unexpected. With this look, the leader was completely frozen. He stared at Shui for a long time, and the atmosphere became very weird. He asked in a deep voice, what's your name? Shui didn't dare to hide it, replying in a low voice. The servant's name is Shin Shui. Hearing this name, a meaningful smile appeared on the corner of the leader's mouth. Is your surname Sin? Gong Peichuan next to him also noticed something was wrong, hurrying up to ask about it. Leader, do you know this girl? The leader withdrew his gaze. Don't know. Just that moment reminded me of an old friend. Things finally came to an end. Jeok Igeon gestured to Shui. It's time to pack up and go back. Shui looked at his back, knowing very well that if this man hadn't appeared in time, I'm afraid I'm already dead now. Is it time to say thank you formally? She mustered up the courage to speak. Young master, thank you so much today. Thanks to you I escaped safely. Unexpectedly, Li Jian finished listening, but he replied suddenly, you really understand what the word safety means. As soon as these words came out, Shui was stunned on the spot. Did she just come out of the wolf's den and into the tiger's den? Qi Lijian stared at the wound on her neck, his tone cold. If that dagger was poisonous, you are a dead person now. He pulled Shui closer, whispering, so I can't really keep you safe. Shui was confused by this sudden move. In fact, she was wearing the poison repellent bead, so even if it was really poisonous, she wasn't afraid at all. But this life-saving secret, it's better not to spoil the moment by saying it. She quickly followed the words and thanked him. Young master, no matter what you say, if you hadn't appeared in time, I definitely couldn't save my life. Thank you for being willing to make this trip yourself. Qi Lijian fell into silence after listening. No one knows what he was thinking at this moment. Qi Lijian's mood was obviously not right. Shui was muttering at the side. Is he angry or am I overthinking it? Qi Lijian coldly ordered his subordinates. Move gently. Before he gives up the information, we must not let him die. Shui said nothing, just watching all this silently. Then she discovered that the Lord of the Ghost Pavilion, Pai Chuan, hadn't left yet, dealing with the scene all by himself. Just then, Shui seemed to have discovered something and suddenly shouted, Wait, this feeling is so strange. Shui stared at Gong Pai Chuan in front of her. She always felt like she had seen this face somewhere before. Obviously today is the first time they met, but why would there be an inexplicable feeling of familiarity? This feeling of mismatch is just a bit unusual. Last night was a nightmare. Shui thinks about it now and feels that she is really lucky. First, she was troubled by her seniors, then she was taken hostage again and almost lost her life. She was finally rescued by Qi Lijian, and as a result, she was interrogated by the leader himself. The things that happened on this day were more than others face in a lifetime. Since she was so unlucky yesterday, then today should be peaceful after all. I'm really afraid of what will happen. Shui just wanted to have a calm period in 2 days. But the leader was actually standing behind her. This time, Shui didn't even dare to raise her head, kneeling down directly on the ground to salute, shouting loudly to greet the leader. The leader waved his hand and said, You don't have to go through so much trouble when we meet in the future. Always kneeling back and forth looks tiring. Shui still looked like she didn't dare to move, so he gave the order directly, making her stand up and speak. Then he stared at Shui and asked, Your name is Shui, right? How old are you this year? This leader is also strange. Leaving business aside, they actually started to check Shui's background, asking her how old she is and who else is at home. Shui, he murmured in her heart. Such a big figure. Why is he interested in my own family background? But she still answered honestly, saying she is 17 this year, and it's her grandma who opens a noodle shop outside the city, raising her with one hand. The leader was silent for a long time after hearing this, then asked, How did your parents pass away? Shui lowered her head and said something happened to her father before he was born, and her mother didn't survive when she was born. So in her life, she had never met her biological parents at all. The leader stared at her and suddenly asked the most critical question. What's your father's name? Shui said without thinking, My father's name was Sinyan Ping. Hearing this name, the leader was completely silent. He whispered, Sure enough, he's not that person? Shui listened at the side and was confused. What is not that person? Could it be that this big figure is looking for someone's shadow through her? Before she could figure it out, the leader suddenly took out a money bag, putting it directly into her hand to let her hold it. Shui, he was completely confused now. What does this mean? Who would have thought the object in the wallet was actually not money, but a delicate hairpin? Shui, he was completely confused now. This kind of personal jewelry. Why did the leader give it to her? Just when she wanted to ask for clarification, she saw that look again. That's a longing that can't be hidden. It seemed as if what he saw was not Shui, but another long-lost person. The leader said softly, Thank you. This was a direct thank you, making the whole thing even more confusing. Although the leader was looking at Shui, his eyes were full of someone else's shadow. That kind of affection was not for her at all. What kind of person was he? Can this leader who kills people without blinking become so emotional? Having stared at Shui for a long time, the leader left a statement, words that made her doubt things. He said, I will come to see you often in the future. After saying that, the person disappeared. This time Shui was completely stunned. Early in the morning, this stimulation was too great. Being targeted by such a big figure, can she still have a peaceful life in the future? Before she could recover, new trouble was coming. Grandma, full of anger, rushed over aggressively. Grandma was so angry she could be felt from afar. She rushed over in a hurry, grabbed Shui, and started to inspect her. What kind of blind trash is this, daring to touch my most precious granddaughter? He must be cut into pieces. Shui was confused by this reaction. Asking quickly, Grandma, how did you know I was injured? Grandma said angrily, Who else could it be? He's the brat who spends all day in the noodle shop. He's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that the informant turned out to be Yang Sabai? Grandma said while checking the wound, talking about that brat who is unfocused all day long, actually passing the exam this time. He never stopped talking about this matter, and also specially brought a message saying that he would need to retreat for training recently, so don't bother anyone. Shui was confused after hearing this, asking quickly where did he go. Grandma replied helplessly, where else could it be? He has always dreamed of joining the Blood Shadow team. Shui was completely confused now. That guy who usually just slacks off actually joined the most dangerous Blood Shadow team. But then thinking about it, she came to the main city to work first. On qualifications, from now on, he will have to call her senior. Seeing Shui was okay, Grandma finally breathed a sigh of relief. With a few words of advice, she hurried back to open the store. Grandma touched Shuei's head. "This look almost warmed a person up," she whispered. "2 more months and these hard days are over. Grandma doesn't want to be rich or wealthy, as long as you can come back safely and just stay by my side." Shuei plunged into Grandma's arms. This was probably because she was in this deep compound, the only thing to rely on. Sending Grandma away, Shuei finally felt, but the next 2 months, can it really be as peaceful as expected? Looking at Grandma's retreating back, Shuei felt mixed emotions in her heart. Meeting relatives in a place like this always brings an indescribable feeling, but at this moment, a name suddenly jumped out, Gong Pai Xuan. Where had she seen this man? The memory suddenly came back. The noodle shop where she used to work. That's right, it's him. At that time, the man wearing a bamboo hat had a murderous aura all over his body, incompatible with the humble noodle shop, so the impression was very deep. The most puzzling thing was that he actually had a lively chat with her grandma at that time, and it seemed that the friendship was not shallow. Grandma is just an ordinary person. How does she know such a dangerous person? Such an important thing, she had completely forgotten about it before. Thinking carefully now, the atmosphere between Grandma and that man at that time, something's really wrong. The two of them looked like they had known each other for a long time. Could it be that Grandma is really hiding secrets from her? If she doesn't understand this matter clearly, her heart feels uneasy. Shuei Hao made up her mind. Wait until these 2 busy days are over. She must find an opportunity to ask for leave from the manager, go to Grandma, and ask her in person. She opened the door. The most important thing now was to finish the work at hand quickly. She wanted to return to work quickly, but as a result, she opened the door and saw Sai Shu. He was dumbfounded. Sitting in the room turned out to be Qi Jian. He asked calmly, "Why did you come back now?" Shuei was completely confused now. What is going on? It stands to reason that at this time shouldn't he be at the martial arts training ground? Watching him approaching step by step, it's really a big trouble now. Qi Jian was serious this time. He stared at Shuei, asking straight to the point, "Who taught you martial arts?" Shuei could only bite the bullet and try to brush it off, saying she was just a humble servant, so where is the chance to learn any martial arts? But Qi Jian didn't accept this trick at all. He stared at Shuei with cold eyes, asking again, "Are you sure you really know nothing?" Before Shuei could react, he suddenly took action, grabbing her wrist firmly. "Since you are stubborn and refuse to tell the truth, then this is the only way. Come to test the truth." Who would have thought the moment Qi Jian grabbed her wrist, a powerful force actually surged out from the place where the two came into contact, sweeping through the whole body in an instant. What kind of energy is this? How could it be so strong? With Qi Jian's move, he immediately noticed something was wrong. This breath was intense. Shuei was completely stunned. "What energy? Why don't I feel anything at all?" Qi Jian's tone was serious. "Don't you really know if there is anything hidden in your body?" Since Shuei didn't know anything, Qi Jian simply didn't explain it, announcing directly, "Starting from tomorrow, you must train 4 hours a day." Shu, he hasn't reacted yet. Who would personally teach a maid to practice kung fu? His tone was calm, but there was no room for rejection. Except me, who else? She thought she had met a famous teacher for guidance, but the result was that the next day, Shuei realized that she had thought too much. This is not training. This is obviously a different routine. It's punishing a person. Qi Jian was serious this time, requesting Shuei to hold a horse stance, saying you have to imagine yourself taking root like a tree. Shuei was very dissatisfied. "I'm not a plant. Still taking root." Seeing Shuei shaking from exhaustion, Tiangong really can't stand it anymore, coming quickly to beg for mercy. "Young master, that's it for today. She has suffered a lot recently. If she keeps practicing, her body will really be unable to bear it." As a result, Qi Jian sneered. "The body can't bear it?" He turned to look at Tiangong. "Since you mentioned it, then I happen to have a question for you." Qi Jian suddenly asked a question. "An ordinary woman holding a horse stance, how long do you think she can last?" Tiangong thought about the answer. "It's only 15 minutes at most." As a result, Qi Jian replied coldly, "But now she has been standing there for more than half an hour." As soon as these words came out, Shu He finally reacted. "This is no training at all. It's the test built by Qi Jian, deliberately using this way to force her to admit it herself. I am not an ordinary person at all." Shuei, he really can't hold it anymore now, slumping directly on the ground. Qi Jian doesn't intend to go around in circles anymore, showing his hand on the spot. "So far, are you still going to pretend to be stupid and say that you have never practiced martial arts?" Seeing that she really can't hide it anymore, Shuei, he could only admit in a low voice, "Actually, I did learn a little bit." Qi Jian snorted coldly. "A little bit?" Shuei, he quickly found someone to blame. "It's true, mainly because I didn't practice very well before, and I can't show it off at all. That's why I didn't dare to say it." But looking at Qi Jian's eyes, this reason he obviously doesn't believe a word of. Qi Jian's next words were like a bombshell. "This energy in your body is not simple at all. The internal force spread in the meridians is at least equivalent to 60 years of cultivation." Shuei was completely stunned. 60 years? In her own body, it actually hides a whole lifetime's worth of skills. But Qi Jian's tone became extremely serious. "Although I don't know why these internal forces are not gathered in the lower abdomen but scattered all over the body, if we continue to let it go like this out-of-control force sooner or later will kill you." Tiangong couldn't help but ask, "Have you taken any rare pill recently?" Shuei was stunned after hearing this. That thing is so expensive, how can I afford it with my status? But Shi Lijian knew very well in his heart this girl definitely hit upon it by mistake, eating some amazing treasure, but she herself is still kept in the dark. There's no point worrying about this now. Shi Lijian directly ordered, letting Shui He sit cross-legged on the spot. Then he turned around and told Tangang, "Keep watch by the side, the next thing must not be disturbed." Before Shui could react, one hand was already on her back. Shi Lijian wanted to forcefully help her clear the way, dispersing the inner strength throughout the body to gather it all in her core. Whether she can use these 60 years of skills for her own use depends on this last effort. Shui He asked tentatively, could this be the legendary opening of meridians? Shi Lijian shook his head. This is much more advanced than that. What we want to open are your 8 extraordinary meridians. This is just the beginning. As long as you work hard and practice more, you can even completely reshape your physique. Shu He couldn't believe it. A martial arts master whom she had only seen in novels before, was she really going to become one of them? Shi Lijian's eyes turned cold. Don't be distracted. Focus, I'm going to start. As his palm exerted force, this power was enough to change her destiny, officially poured into Shui He's body. Shi Lijian's hands were obviously very warm, but the energy coming in was cold and intense. This feeling was even a little scary. But in this chaos, Shui finally saw the path clearly. The first level was the key point of the main channel. This power surged over like a tidal wave. There was no way out now. They must rush over in one go. With a sudden burst of energy, the barriers in the body were instantly knocked open. She thought it would be unbearable pain, but the result turned out to be much smoother than expected. Since it's a good start, then you must not stop. Take advantage of this momentum. I have to clear all the remaining levels. This energy was simply overwhelming, rushing all the way up the spine, passing the key structural points that were originally solid levels. Now they were like paper being knocked away in an instant. Immediately afterwards, the energy directly locked the most important gate. Just breaking through here, Shui's physique would undergo earth-shaking changes. Shi Lijian was fully supporting behind the scenes. The red inner force was intertwined with the blue light. The air pressure in the whole room was so low that it made one breathless. At this most critical moment, the situation suddenly changed unexpectedly. Shi Lijian's energy opened the way ahead, bringing Shui He's inner strength straight through the main vein with astonishing speed. But this power was so overbearing. Shui felt like there were countless insects crawling all over her body. That kind of sharp pain was completely beyond her endurance limit. She originally thought it was a rebirth, but in the end it was like walking through the gates of hell. Shui now had a headache that was about to explode, her consciousness on the verge of collapse. Shi Lijian shouted sharply from the side, "Wake up! Do you want to be a useless person for the rest of your life?" Absolutely not. This kind of opportunity may only happen once in this life. If you give in now, then this life will be completely ruined. She held on to her last breath, knowing very well that once you pass out here, that's failure, and no one can save her. Just the last bit, hold on a little longer. At this moment, there was a sudden buzz in her head, like something completely broke through. That terrible headache that she had disappeared without a trace all of a sudden. Instead, there was a refreshing feeling that spread throughout the body. This feeling was like the whole person had been completely transformed, and more amazing changes were still ahead. The breakthrough was successful, but Shui also completely exhausted her last bit of strength. There was only the last vague memory left in her mind as she fell down completely. Shi Lijian caught her steadily. Tiangong next to him was also shocked. At this moment, the sounds all around were fading away. She was completely out. It's like falling into a bottomless dream. It was a deep sleep, but no one knows. Waiting until she opens her eyes again, what will be waiting for her. The sun shone into the house. Shui hasn't opened her eyes yet, but she felt like this quilt was incredibly soft and there's even a sun-baked scent. Such comfort made her not want to get up at all. But in the next second, she reacted suddenly. Something's wrong. This place is not her home. Its place is not her home. Shui He looked around, her mind full of questions. She remembered that she was practicing with Shi Lijian. How come the memory breaks while practicing? Before she could figure it out, a cold voice came from outside the door. "Now that you're awake, just come out quickly." This voice, she was so scared that she almost fell off the bed. Only then did she react. The furnishings in this room were clearly Shi Lijian's room, finished. Now, even if I try to explain, I won't be able to clear myself. Looking at the man in front of her who was calmly drinking tea, Shui He said nothing, just fell to her knees and shouted, "Sir, spare my life, the servant deserves to die." Shui He's mind was now full of regrets. How dare you sleep in the young master's room? This is so reckless. She begged for mercy and shouted, "As long as I can save my life, no matter how I am punished, I accept it." Shi Lijian was holding a teacup, looking at her with a puzzled expression, not understanding this woman. "Why do you ask for mercy so often?" He asked calmly. "Are you so afraid of me?" "Afraid? That's an understatement." He felt extremely frightened, but I still have to insist on saying it. "How can that be? All the maids in the house praise you, saying your character is too good for words." Shi Lijian put down the teacup. There was a hint of playfulness in his tone. "Since I have such a good character, then you look like this now. Who are you doing it for?" This time Shui He was completely speechless. Shi Lijian saw through her thoughts at a glance. He said, "You don't even dare to look at me and you've been looking for opportunities to escape. What are you hiding from? Shui was embarrassed now, wondering if she had shown it so obviously. She quickly started making up nonsense, saying that she just wanted to do her duty, telling the young master not to take today's events to heart. She was still muttering in her heart, which part of my actions went wrong. How dare I sleep here? But at this moment, Shin Seol-ha suddenly said something. It was me. This was just 2 words, but it let Shui freeze in place. Shui was completely stunned. She asked in disbelief, what do you mean? Shin Seol-ha's tone was calm, like talking about a trivial thing. He said, after you fainted, I personally brought you back. As soon as these words came out, Shui felt like the sky was falling. The dignified young master, he actually carried her back to the room himself. Shin Seol-ha looked at her with an intense expression and asked rhetorically, how is there any problem with this? The problem is getting bigger. Who doesn't know that Shin Seol-ha has severe cleanliness preferences? Usually his bedroom, not even a living creature is allowed in. But now, not only did he let a person in, he did it himself. What on earth is this man thinking? Could it be the situation is really going to change? Shui, he murmured in her heart, a person with Shin Seol-ha's status actually let a maid stay in the room. If anyone who has read the original work knows this, I guess everyone will be completely stunned. Before she could figure it out, Shin Seol-ha suddenly spoke. Let's start helping you run your energy now. Shui, he didn't react for a moment. Is this pace too fast? Should we start now? Shin Seol-ha approached step by step, asking in a low tone, don't you want to see if yesterday's practice had any results? Upon hearing this, Shui woke up immediately. That's right, this is a matter of importance. She must see clearly. Shui took a deep breath, forcing herself to calm down first. Success or failure depends on this. As the energy began to flow, a warm force swept through the whole body. This feeling was completely different from before. She opened her eyes suddenly, unable to believe it. All the meridians in the body were really open. How can this be simple cultivation? This is simply a rebirth. It seems she's really going to get stronger. Shin Seol-ha asked her, 60 years of internal strength gained for nothing. How do you feel now? Shui got a huge benefit now, but she was also worried. Such a big favor. What will it require in return? Who knew that Shin Seol-ha didn't care at all? He said there is no need to return the favor. From now on, you can continue to practice with me. Shui, he didn't react for a moment. Still need to practice. Shin Seol-ha's tone was serious. You have inner strength now, but you don't know any moves at all. If you don't learn some real skills, these 60 years of skill have all been wasted. His final instruction, from now on, you just need to focus on cooking. Shin Seol-ha was really generous this time. In order to allow Shui to concentrate on practicing, he actually hired a few more maids on purpose, saving Shui all the heavy work. Shui murmured in her heart, she is obviously just a little maid, yet he put so much effort into her. Who do you want to cultivate her to be? Could it be that he wants her to be a bodyguard? Before she could figure out the reason, suddenly there was an announcement outside the door, saying that the eldest young master had arrived. Shui's heart skipped a beat. If this young master doesn't come early, he won't come late. It happened to show up at this time. Shin Seol-ha didn't even look back, replying coldly, let him in. Shui recognized him at a glance. The person who came was none other than the eldest young master, Chi Bai. This man was not an easy person to deal with. He suddenly came to the door at this time, definitely up to no good. Just then, Chi Bai had already strode in. That gorgeous outfit was so dazzling that one couldn't keep their eyes off it. He had a big smile on his face, and as soon as he opened his mouth, he even called out affectionately, my dear brother, but everyone could hear it. Behind this laughter was hidden a spine-chilling chill. Chi Bai was here, and the atmosphere changed instantly. Saying polite words, it's not sure what his plans are. He sat down directly, and there was an edge to his words, saying it's strange that his brother never visits him. Just then, he turned his head, his eyes fixed on Xiu. Trouble now, he actually became interested in Shui. This is not a good sign. Chi Bai's eyes almost wanted to see through Shui. He spoke in a sinister tone, no wonder my brother has been so reliable lately. It turns out the taste has been changed. Chi was completely stunned. I didn't even say anything to him. What the hell is this guy thinking? Chi Bai slowly drank tea while getting more direct, even speaking harshly in public. He said that if he had fallen in love with Shui first, now the person would already be in his hands. As soon as these words came out, Shin Seol-ha finally couldn't sit still anymore. He interrupted with a cold face, asking the elder brother, what the hell are you talking about? The more Chi Bai talked, the further he went. He actually teased Shui in public, saying in front of his brother, there is no need to pretend to be innocent. In his eyes, a man falling in love with a woman he likes means it is only natural to take them away directly, no need to make any excuses at all. He even came close to Shui, making an invitation asking her if she wanted to go to his room tonight. Shui completely understood now. I've seen shameless people, but I've never seen anyone so shameless. What kind of young master is this? He is simply a terrible person, it's so disgusting. Shin Seol-ha would not tolerate him this time, responding directly and coldly. He said that brother's mouth still smells as bad as before. Now that we're on someone else's territory, just be respectful. This was not over yet. He then added another blow. His ears were almost tired of hearing these words from Big Brother. It's so intense. How has Chi Bai ever been so countered? His composure was completely broken on the spot. He suddenly overturned the chair and stood up, pointing at his brother's nose and starting to yell. These two brothers, it seems like they are about to completely break ties. Chi Huibai was completely angered now. He suddenly grabbed Chi Lijian's collar, asking his brother how he dared to talk to him like this. Instead, Chi Lijian smiled more coldly, thinking his brother was so abnormal because he was afraid that he would steal Shui. In this case, he simply made it clear, this person today, he had to take away. In the face of this blatant provocation, Chi Lijian didn't even raise his eyelids, just replied with a cold tone, "Want to take her away? Then fight me. The one who wins, only then is he qualified to take her away." As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere in the whole place instantly dropped to freezing point. Hearing the word duel, Chi Huibai was not only not afraid, instead, he laughed even crazier, thinking this was a big joke. Staring at the brother in front of him, his tone was full of sarcasm. He said, "As long as you really have the courage, I'm always ready." Chi Huibai grabbed Chi Lijian's collar, saying provocatively, "As long as you have the courage, you guy." Chi Huibai snorted coldly and the strength in his hand did not loosen at all. This situation was really getting out of control. Watching Chi Huibai go away, Chi Lijian snorted coldly. What an uneducated person. Shui stood there. If no one had stopped them just now, the consequences would be simply unimaginable. She stepped forward hesitantly. "That thank you just now. Who knew he wouldn't appreciate it at all?" His tone was extremely cold. "How dare you?" Chi Lijian's tone was cold. "How dare you try to let others steal my things?" Shui was completely stunned. "This thing," he said. "Does it mean me?" Before she could react, Chi Lijian suddenly changed his mind. "I originally planned to continue practicing tomorrow." Shu-hee tested in a low voice. "Young master?" As a result, he never looked back. "No, start now." Chi Lijian left a word. "I'm waiting for you at the practice ground. Change your clothes immediately and come over here." Shui was completely out of luck now, can only agree in a low voice, her heart full of grievances. Tiangong, hiding outside the door, heard all this clearly and couldn't help but sigh. It's really difficult now. On the second day, Shui suddenly reacted. "Why didn't I expect it at the beginning? Things would turn out like this." Shui hasn't stood firm yet when she was surrounded by a group of people. Everyone asking in a hurry, "What happened?" Rumors spread faster than the wind. It must have spread faster than the wind. It must have spread throughout the entire mansion. The more these maids talked, the more outrageous they became. "You really spent the night in the hall. The second young master really chose you to be his woman." Shui waved her hands anxiously. "It's not what you think at all." But waiting until it got quiet, she felt empty in her heart. A person like him, how could he possibly fall in love with a little maid like me? This is all a misunderstanding. Shui desperately wanted to explain, but no one believed it at all. She admitted that she did stay in the hall all night, and this stirred up a hornet's nest. Everyone was making noises, you see. "You did spend the night there." Shui quickly corrected it. "I stayed up all night. I didn't say I slept there." Everyone smiled knowingly. "Does it make a difference?" "If there's no difference, what were you doing there?" Unable to explain it clearly, Shui could only lower her voice to tell the truth. "Actually, it's the second young master who was sick." As soon as these words came out, everyone was dumbfounded. Chi Lijian is usually the most focused person. Every time Shui finished her work, he would speak gently, but this time he was unusually silent. Shui felt something was wrong, hurrying over to check it out, and the result was shocking. Chi Lijian's whole body was very hot. He was obviously burned out. Looking at him who was usually aloof, now lying there weakly and calling out from heat. Once the scene was described, all the maids in the audience went crazy. Shui made up explanations one after another, saying that the second young master suddenly fell ill, so she hired a doctor and stayed all night. No one would verify this kind of thing anyway. As a result, Ji suddenly appeared, looking into her eyes and asking, "Are you sure you are telling the truth?" Shui could only nod bravely, but she knew it in her heart. "I can't fool them with just these few words. It seems I have to use a major statement." In order to clear up the relationship with Chi Lijian, Shui directly made a declaration. She vowed, "I already have a sweetheart. I heard that guy just joined the Blood Shadows team, and I will introduce him to you when I have the opportunity in the future." This time, the gossip interest in the whole audience was ignited. Only Shui was apologizing in her heart. "Yang Subai, sorry, I'll use you as a shield first." She originally thought that this matter would be over, but as a result, she turned around and even the neighbors passing by knew she was in a relationship. Trouble now. The rumors spread completely, and now the news spread throughout the whole estate. Sushu came here specially to inquire, is Sui really going to resign to get married? Everyone even decided the wedding date for her. They also said that Man joined the Blood Shadow team, which is simply a promising future, letting Shui have to hurry up. Shui, who is now suffering in silence. A lie really needs countless lies to cover it up. She could only comfort herself, bear it for 2 more months, and I'll be relieved when I leave here. But at this moment a familiar figure appeared. Yang Subai was not far away. "I'm really afraid of what will happen." Shui just used Yang Subai as a shield, and as a result, he actually showed up and started shouting from a long distance away. Shui was completely stunned, asking him why he came here suddenly. "It's okay to meet at the noodle shop, but you have to make such a big fuss here?" Turns out this guy was even more direct. He just opened his arms and rushed over. "I'm afraid that others won't know about that posture that he is the sweetheart. It's complicated now. Originally, I just wanted to make up an excuse. Now the whole estate has to take it seriously." Faced with Yang Subai's enthusiastic advance, Shaehee's body reacted faster than her brain. An over-the-shoulder throw knocked the person down directly. She quickly apologized and said it was a conditioned reflex. As a result, Yang Subai had a unique mindset. He actually thought this was Shuhee's shyness. He said it affectionately, "I didn't expect you to have such deep feelings for me." Shuhee was dumbfounded, wondering if she had just struck too hard and broken this guy's logic. Before she could think of how to explain, Yang Subai proposed marriage on the spot, saying, "Since you are so anxious to marry me, then let's get married now." Shuhee was really dumbfounded now. She never expected it. Yang Subai actually took that excuse seriously. Look at the other person's serious look. Shuhee felt full of guilt, feeling like her trying to escape really messed up people so badly. She was planning to tell the truth clearly, telling Yang Subai this was just an excuse, letting him stop misunderstanding. But the words were not finished yet when the atmosphere suddenly changed. Li Jian actually appeared at this time. The situation is completely out of control now. No one knows how much he heard, and I don't even know what he wants to do. It's over. The last person who should hear it still heard it. Li Jian suddenly appeared like this and he asked in a cold tone, "Who are you going to marry?" With Li Jian's appearance, the atmosphere in the whole place suddenly changed. Shuhee felt completely uncertain. Did she get into trouble again? Even Yang Subai was hesitant and speechless. The trouble is really big now. Yang Subai quickly stepped forward to salute, wanting to leave a good impression in front of the young master, but Li Jian doesn't accept this trick at all. He started checking the situation directly, even changing his expression and questioning him on the spot. Why do you want to find his maid in private? Li Jian is obviously protecting what is his now. Yang Subai was so frightened that he couldn't hold back a word for a long time. He just wanted to send the person away quickly. She said it was all a misunderstanding, begging Yang Subai to leave first. Fortunately, the other party was reliable enough, smiling and promising to talk later. Watching this imposing figure finally leave, Shaehee felt that the time bomb on her head had finally been dismantled. As a result, she turned around and Li Jian was staring from behind with a cold face. He asked right away, was that posture just now a proposal of marriage? He even asked Shaehee directly if she wanted to marry him. This time, Shaehee was completely dumbfounded. I'm afraid even if I try hard, I won't be able to clear up this misunderstanding. Shaehee could only tell the truth now, saying it was hard to explain. It turns out that in order to suppress those rumors, she simply made up a fake boyfriend, thinking she could hide it from the scrutiny, but who knew that no one would believe it at all? She had no choice but to drag her good friend Yang Subai in, and as a result, it broke out now. Yang Subai actually took it seriously and he came all the way to find her. Li Jian's tone was sharp after hearing this. Finally, he stared at her and asked, "Is there really nothing between you two?" He quickly cleared up the relationship, saying that she and Yang Subai were just childhood friends, and the two of them were like family. Li Jian suddenly said, "But there are rumors outside that you are getting married. Since it's just a rumor, why would you go out of your way to cover it up by lying?" Shuei explained helplessly, "This is all to preserve the reputation of the young master, also to save my own life." As a result, Li Jian heard this, and his expression immediately became serious. He asked if someone wanted her life. He saw Li Jian had thought wrongly, hurrying up to explain what it means to save her life. "I'm afraid of being targeted by other maids. After all, everyone is envious regarding the young master." The more she talked, the more humble she became, saying even with a small status like my own, being able to help the young master feel comfortable is the greatest path. In fact, all she was thinking about was, I really want to live. If I can't explain it clearly anymore, I guess if the young master raised his hand, I can't save my head. Li Jian said nothing after hearing this, and this silence made the atmosphere even more intense. Li Jian saw through her at a glance, saying, "Only when others are really angry is that why you need to speak so humbly." Shuei could only admit with embarrassment. That's indeed what happened, but who knew that Li Jian would change the subject? He said he wasn't angry at all just now, so Shuei had been busy for a long time and it's all useless effort. Shuei had been a busy Pridal. In short, all those humble performances she just put on. Was it all self-indulgence? Li Jian was still concerned. He must confirm her relationship with Yang Subai. Shuhee quickly explained, saying that the two of them were so close that they often joked around, and he's the closest friend. She was still muttering in her heart. What did the young master mean by what he just said? Does he really not care at all about those rumors about maids? As a result, Li Jian suddenly changed the subject, asking her what kind of person her grandma is. He was completely confused now. I obviously never mentioned grandma, so how did he know? She could only say it bravely. Grandma is just an ordinary old lady. Li Jian heard that grandma opened a noodle shop and got interested, even wanting to try it himself. He was completely panicked now. She quickly found an excuse to stop this matter, letting out that the place is shabby and old, not worthy of the status of the young master at all. In order to prevent Li Jian from visiting in person, she also promised that once she learned the craft, she would cook it specially for him later. Who knew the words just fell and the leader actually came over too, and he also wanted to know where is the best place to eat. Who would have thought there are actually people who want to join in the fun? The leader said as soon as he opened his mouth, he also wanted to taste that bowl of noodles. After Shui saw the person clearly, she quickly and respectfully saluted. Shi Jian was also a little surprised, asking directly, "Father, why did you come here in person?" Now the situation has completely changed. Even the leader was alarmed. Shui He's current pressure, I'm afraid, has reached its limit. The leader saw the clues at a glance, asking Shi Jian if he helped Shui straighten out the energy in her body. After getting a positive answer, the leader rarely showed his approval. It turns out that Shui's physical condition, this leader had seen through it a long time ago. Shui He didn't have time to breathe a sigh of relief when Shi Jian began to report the next plan. Not only have I been teaching her movement and sword skills, I will teach her more powerful moves tomorrow. Watching the father and son discussing together, Shui felt weak in her heart. The progress of this formidable training, is it a little too fast? The leader suddenly dropped a bombshell, actually asking Shui, "Do you want to learn martial arts from him?" Shui was completely stunned. She is a humble maid, so who is qualified to let the leader personally give guidance? But the leader didn't care, saying that this kind of opportunity is rare. He even expressed it generously. As long as Shu-hee opens her mouth, she can choose any martial arts at will. Now Shu-hee felt even more uncertain. This kind of unbelievable good thing, what is the purpose behind it? Do I really have this kind of talent? I originally wanted to keep a low profile, but now the opportunity is in front of me. Who can resist the temptation to become a master? In fact, Shui's heart had long been eyeing a unique skill. Now that the leader had spoken, why be so polite? She finally made up her mind and spoke out her wish. I want to learn the most powerful movement skill that can save one's life. Hearing this unusual request, the leader laughed directly, saying no one else has the courage. He looked at Shui while considering, since you want to learn, then you have to pick something strong. Which one is most suitable for this little girl? The leader finally nodded. It seems that he already had an idea in mind, and this move is definitely powerful enough. He didn't have the patience to take his time, taking Shui directly to the yard and dropping a sentence coldly. I will only demonstrate once, it's up to you whether you can learn it or not. Heavenly Demon Phoenix Wing Technique. When this name came out of his mouth, he was completely stunned. This is the legendary unique power. He actually planned to teach her himself. He couldn't believe her ears. This Heavenly Demon Phoenix Wing Technique turned out to be the unique secret technique created by the Demon Queen back then. That legendary figure single-handedly saved the demon cult when it was at its most chaotic, finally disappearing in the long river of history to become an unparalleled myth. Now, this long-lost inheritance actually fell into Shui-he's hands. She felt like she was simply dreaming. The leader had no intention of letting her continue to be in a daze, reminding her in a deep voice. The foundation of movement is about letting the body completely get rid of weight. Watch closely. The first form, Phoenix Wings Flying in the Sky. The leader revealed the secret of this magical skill, the core lying in 3 words, flexible, soft, combined. He taught the formula while guiding Shu-hee to run the internal force, letting the breath make a large circuit in the body, then pour it into the point on the sole of the foot. A miracle happened. Shui found that this move was surprisingly easy to practice. Could it be the hard training during this period of time let her finally get the concept? She jumped more and more briskly, even thinking it's quite fun to practice this magical skill. But just when she was enjoying it, the body suddenly experienced an unexpected strange feeling. Who would have thought the power of this move was so unexpected? Shui took off directly on the spot, instantly sent to the clouds. Wait until she came to her senses. The city below had become a miniature view. She couldn't help shouting, "Wait a moment, this is too high." Finally, she stabilized her body and fell back to the ground. Before she could fully recover, the leader asked calmly, "How does it feel?" The feeling of flying into the sky for the first time, Shui was completely fascinated. "This is what she dreams of," she announced loudly. "I must practice this skill well and become my own unique skill." The leader looked at her, his tone full of appreciation. "With your talent, of course, it's not difficult." Now that you have practiced, he changed the subject. "Do you want to challenge the back mountain?" Shui was stunned. "Is it really possible?" The leader smiled. "Learn the skill, isn't it just for use?" Just then a voice suddenly interrupted. "In this case, then let me escort her." Shi Jian slowly stepped forward, his tone leaving no room for doubt. After hearing this, the leader finally breathed a sigh of relief. "With you following, I can really feel relieved." But Shui was completely confused. "What do you mean we have to go together?" she asked tentatively. "Young master, do you really want to go with me?" Shi Jian looked calm. "Otherwise, do you want my father to accompany you personally?" Even so, Shuek secretly complaining in her heart. She was still thinking about being able to set out freely alone, but this is different. There's a big trouble beside me that I can't afford to provoke. After explaining the last few words, the leader prepared to leave. Shui quickly responded loudly, promising that she would practice more frequently. Look at the girl's energetic look. He walked alone under the moonlight, unable to help but sigh. It's great to be young. But immediately following, Shui's figure seemed to prick his mind, reminding him of someone he hadn't mentioned in a long time. That child is her age, exactly the same. If the accident hadn't happened that year, if that child were still alive now, they should be about the same age as her, right? Gong Paichuan suddenly asked a very serious question. "Sir, do you regret it?" The leader chuckled lightly. "This feeling, who can tell whether I regret it or not?" But he knew it very well. Even if time goes back to that fateful moment, he would still make the same choice. After all, that's how people are. Once you have feelings, you will become completely committed. Gong Paishuan called Sir in a low voice, but I don't know what the leader was thinking. He understands better than anyone else. This choice is like a rope around the neck, letting him be unable to escape in this life. Just then, a cry of surprise came from the distance, breaking this heavy thought. Unable to believe it, movement skill, a skill that could only be seen in novels before, now actually happened to her. Shui flew through the forest. This feeling was really like a dream. It's exciting. A huge mystery came to mind. The internal strength of these 60 years, how did it get into my body? She wanted to rack her brain, but she couldn't remember any relevant scenes. Could it be said Grandma did all this? But why would she do this, want my body to become what it is now? No, the most critical issue now is this is a full 60 years of skill. Passing on so much inner strength to others? Is it really that easy? In everyone's eyes, Grandma Shinchin is just an ordinary person who runs a noodle shop, at most only knowing a little bit about basic things. But now it seems her identity is definitely not that simple. He was lost in thought when suddenly there was nothing under her feet. Oh no! She fell directly from midair. This time it's completely messed up. What a mistake. She's obviously still a rookie to be distracted at a time like this. Now all her control was lost. Grandma, big trouble now. Shui was completely out of control, must stop quickly, otherwise someone will really get hurt. But the speed was too fast. She found that she couldn't control it at all. Seeing the ground right in front of her, it was too late to avoid. At this most desperate moment, she shouted the name loudly. Shi Li Jian. At this most critical moment, he was really there. This catch let Shui be completely stunned on the spot. She never expected it. In her most embarrassing moment, it turned out to be him who saved her. This time, the atmosphere became a little subtle. Shi Li Jian asked in a low voice, "You're not hurt, are you?" He was completely stunned now. What the hell is going on? Was she really caught like that? It looked quite dramatic just now. And as a result, she reacted and her whole focus shifted on the spot. Shi Li Jian seemed to be very concerned now, keeping on asking whether she hurt her leg or her hand. He quickly explained that she was fine. She was just surprised by this sudden concern. She even wanted to beg him to put her down first. As a result, the young master didn't listen at all. Instead, he held her tighter, having to take her to the medical area without saying anything. This time, Shui was completely panicked. Help, there really is no need to create such a big scene. In the middle of the night, the door of the medical office was knocked open directly. Who would have thought Shi Li Jian actually rushed in with Shui He in his arms? Everyone was completely confused now. If there's anything urgent, just send someone a message. Why did the second young master bring the person over in person? Shi Li Jian had no intention of talking nonsense. And if you open your mouth, ask for the chief doctor. Shui He looked helpless at the side. It's really hard to keep a low profile now. The result is now another voice came from the room. Bao Jingyang's opening, the tone was so casual. He was stunned at the sight. This is the relative of the leader. How dare he speak so casual? The results would be even more surprising yet to come. Shi Li Jian was not only not angry, instead he respectfully called him uncle. This time Shui completely understood. It turns out that Shi Li Jian's mother actually came from a famous family known for medicine and poison. No wonder those attempts and attacks were of no use to him. In short, this background, that's true protection. Shi Li Jian was extremely anxious as soon as he entered the door, insisting that Shui suffered serious internal injuries. Shui stood aside and wanted to find a crack in the ground to crawl into. This is really embarrassing. Bao Jingyang was even more speechless after hearing the reason, seeing that it was just a fall from a tree. He didn't even bother to take a pulse, just saying, "This girl's very fine." As soon as these words came out, Shi Li Jian was frustrated on the spot, pointing at the marks on Shui He's face and insisting that she is in severe pain now. Shui He screamed crazily in her heart. I really didn't say it hurt. The result showed that Jinyang was suddenly stunned. He stared at Shui He and asked, "What did you say her name was just now?" Biao Jinyang stared at Shui He for a long time, asking her suddenly, "Is it the new maid?" Shui He responded honestly. The results show that Jinyang smiled meaningfully, saying he had heard of this girl a long time ago. I just didn't expect it. We would meet under such circumstances. It seems that Shui's reputation in Shi Li Jian's circle of elders had been spread long ago. Biao Jinyang finally became serious now, pointing to the bed next to him to let Shi Li Jian put the person down first. The second young master who was so demanding just now he was obedient, not daring to say a word more. Biao Jinyang took out the treasure from the bottom of the collection. This ointment is not simple. No matter how serious the injury is, it only takes 1 day to be completely healed. This is his proud work. Look at his proud expression. Shui was dumbfounded. Bao Jinyang even intended to give her medicine himself. How dare Shui Hai let her elders take action? She quickly declined and said that she was of low status. The results show Jinyang's next words had something behind them. He said he didn't want to make that person sad. Shui Yi was completely confused now. It was obvious that she was the one who was injured, so who would be sad after all? Look at Shi Li Jian's eyes next to him. The answer is written on his face. Just when Biao Jinyang was about to apply the medicine, Shi Li Jian suddenly rushed over without saying a word, just took the medicine bottle. This made Biao Jinyang very annoyed, just about to get angry, and ask him what he wanted to do. As a result, Shi Lijian ignored him, turning around and stuffing the medicine into Xue He's hand. He coldly left the instruction, "Let you apply it yourself." Xue He was completely stunned, not realizing what was going on at all. Bao Jinyang was still making assumptions, thinking Shi Lijian disliked Xue's low status, and that it's not fitting for him, the chief physician, to do it himself. Look at Shi Lijian's appearance. How can he dislike it? It's obviously the possessiveness in his heart starting to act strangely again. Bao Jinyang shook his head and complained as he walked. Young people today are really unusual, but he was quite generous in his actions, just leaving the whole jar of unique medicine behind. Shi Lijian was not polite when he was next to it. Even replying casually, Bao Jinyang specifically instructed before leaving, if there is any discomfort after that, even if you go to the medical department to find him. He was holding this jar of precious ointment, feeling happy. She found that this job seemed not bad just because she is Shi Lijian's personal maid to be able to enjoy such special treatment. She even felt today is such a lucky day. But who would have thought, in the dead of night, Su suddenly let out a scream, staring at Xue He's face and asking what was going on. Xue quickly avoided direct explanation, saying she was just climbing a tree and accidentally fell. She stared at Xue's face and asked what was going on. Accidentally fell. Xue quickly avoided direct explanation, saying she was just climbing a tree and accidentally fell. To change the subject, Xue found that Su was dressed very beautifully today. It turns out her parents are here. Haven't seen each other for 5 years? It's not easy for an old couple to come all the way. Xue asked casually did they enjoy their visit to town. As a result, Sushu's reaction let the atmosphere instantly drop to freezing point. Sushu asked in disbelief, how can ordinary people enter such a place? He hasn't realized the seriousness of the problem yet, also asking if they could get a pass or something. Sushu was completely speechless now, asking her if she had forgotten all the rules. It seems that the situation in this estate is much deeper than Xue thought. Sushu's words are like a basin of cold water, letting Xue wake up. It turns out that the rules in this estate are strict. It is impossible for ordinary people to take even half a step forward. But the more Xue listened, the more she felt something was wrong. If this place is really heavily guarded, how did Grandma come in then? And more than once. Grandma came in to see her twice. This is what Susu said is simply impossible to happen. The more Xue thought about it, the more Xue thought about it, the more unusual she felt. From those inexplicable unique medicines to Grandma's visit that year, this is also abnormal. It seems that on herself hides a huge secret that even she doesn't know. Now, this matter has become the biggest mystery in Xue's heart. If even Susu's parents can't get in, then why can her grandma come and go freely here? They can even bring in those rare medicines. It's finally dawn. Xue slept very deeply this time, trying her hand with breathing techniques, and the whole person finally calmed down. She said softly, the effect of this ointment is indeed something. Xue couldn't believe it took a nap and all the injuries on her body were healed. She originally wanted to continue practicing energy work, but when I think of Qi Lijian's face, she started getting anxious in her heart. What if I say something wrong? I don't even dare to think about the consequences. Forget it. It's better to wait patiently for now. We have to find a way to escape from here quickly. Xue thought she could hide for a while, but as soon as I left the house I bumped into the person I least wanted to see. The leader was sitting there. It seems like he had been waiting for a long time. The first sentence spoken sends chills down your back. Early in the morning, why did this Lord Demon come here in person? He quickly saluted, her heart keeping its pace. The leader stared at her, saying words of concern about the injury, but there is no warmth in the tone. Xue was so frightened that she quickly admitted her mistake, saying she was injured because she was careless. Just hoping that the other party can let it go this time. Who would have thought the leader actually didn't get angry this time? Instead, he pointed the finger directly aimed at Qi Lijian next to him. The leader asked coldly, I trust you and let you follow her. In the end, is that all you follow her? In the end. Is that all you have? Xue was completely confused now. The development of things was completely beyond her expectations. Qi Lijian could only bow his head and admit his mistake, not daring to refute a word. Xue looked on in a daze. It was obvious that she was in trouble, so why did the leader lecture Qi Lijian? What's even stranger is Qi Lijian actually apologized very readily. This situation is really incomprehensible. The more the leader talks about it, the more annoyed he becomes, feeling that Qi Lijian can't take care of people at all. Made a mistake once, there will definitely be a second time. Qi Lijian also wanted to give another reassurance, but as a result, the leader didn't listen at all, announcing directly in public, this can't go on like this, I must take Xue to the central spire. As soon as his sentence came out, Xue was completely stunned. Where'd it go? The main tower? It's not a place you can enter casually. She never expected it. The leader actually wants to make it real. Just then, Qi Lijian slammed the table and reacted on the spot. He shouted, this is absolutely not okay. Xue is my maid. In front of elders, how dare he show his stance directly? The situation has completely come to a standstill now. Qi Lijian really put everything on the line this time, directly confronting his biological father, saying that even if you are the father, you can't be so unreasonable. He watched from the side and was shocked, matching Qi Lijian's intensity in her mind. This wave of resistance is indeed firm enough, but thinking about it again, She started to feel worried again. Although she wants to stay away from Igeon, that place at the spire is definitely a challenge. She heard that as long as you go in, don't ever think about coming out again in this life. What about her retirement plan? Isn't it completely ruined? Seeing that his son dared to contradict him in public, the leader was completely angered and the pressure of being the leader exploded instantly. He asked coldly, "Are you going to blatantly disobey orders?" Facing his father's anger, Igeon didn't give in even a step, saying firmly, "If you want to punish, then punish, but I will never change my mind." Igeon was still holding on, saying that Shui could not be taken away no matter what. This time the leader was completely incensed, asking with a sneer, "Do you know how to disobey my order? What price do we have to pay?" Seeing that the father and son were about to fall out on the spot, right at this juncture Shui suddenly fell to her knees with a plop. She begged Igeon loudly to take back his statement, saying that there is a grandma who is seriously ill at home, and I can't live without her care. If I really went to the tower, I'm afraid I'll never see my loved ones again in this life. This definitive plea came out and the whole place fell silent instantly. She continued to act in front of the leader, so a pitiful look, asking the other party to understand your difficulties. The leader was silent for a long time, asking, "Is your grandma really that sick?" Shui quickly followed the lead, saying that grandma's health is really not good recently and you can't live without people at home. After listening to this, the leader sighed helplessly and said, "In this case, then I can't force others to do anything. I originally wanted to keep you by my side to take care of you." On the surface, Shui burst into tears of gratitude, saying, "Thank you for your care," but in fact, her heart had already rejoiced. Who would have thought this sick grandma excuse surprisingly works well every time? This time, I finally saved my life. This situation is finally coming to an end. The leader made a special statement before leaving, letting Igeon take good care of Shui. Igeon had a very focused attitude this time, guaranteeing that nothing will go wrong again. It seems that the discussion just now was not in vain. Before leaving, the leader said goodbye to Shui, saying, "See you next time." Shui quickly saw off the guest politely, all she wanted in her heart being never to see him again in this life. "Wait until you are the only one left in the yard," Shui finally breathed a sigh of relief. The scene just now was a close call. When she thinks about it now, she feels it's intense. Just because of a small mistake during practice, how could it cause so much trouble? This reaction is too major. The big figures had just left and things started to look tense with Igeon. He stared at Shui without saying a word. Shui was looked at inexplicably. Where is this young master focused on now? Why are you staring at her like that? As a result, Igeon suddenly spoke. "Tomorrow morning we are leaving for Sichuan." Shui was completely confused now. This news is simply unexpected, not mentally prepared at all. Igeon didn't give her any time to react, dropping a sentence coldly, "Hurry up and get ready. This is a plan that just goes into effect. What's the plan behind this? In order not to go to Sichuan, Shehi was thinking a lot last night, but in the end I couldn't find a decent excuse. I originally wanted to pretend to be sick, but I usually practice too hard and this body is so strong that no one would even believe her if she pretended to be sick. It's completely out of the question now. We can only bite the bullet and set off. I'm afraid I can't escape this trip. Now I am completely tied to Igeon." Although the weather is perfectly fine, Shui was not happy at all. It's obviously in the plot of the original work. Igeon's trip to Sichuan was a secret operation. I should only have Tiangong with me. But now the situation is completely mixed up. An itinerary that should have been secretive. Why did you get yourself involved? Shehi thinks. Although she is an extra maid, it shouldn't change the plot of the original work drastically. But this kind of variable caused by herself still made her heart beat fast. Just then, suddenly a familiar voice came to her ears. Tiangong said hello with a smile. "Shuhi, you got up really early today." Tiangong was still the same. As soon as they met, he asked with a smile, "How did you sleep last night?" Shui felt much more at ease when she saw him. As for Igeon next to him, every day when I lower my head, I don't see you. When I raise my head, I'm slowly getting used to his cold face. Saying hello briefly, Igeon meant business as soon as he opened his mouth, asking coldly, "Is everything ready?" Shui felt a little overwhelmed because of this aura, replying quickly, Of course it's ready." For this trip, Shui was simply focused. From a change of clothes to toiletries, even the bedding used by Igeon was brought along. Considering that this master is a big eater, she also packed it with dried meat and rice balls. It turned out that the luggage was as heavy as moving houses. Look at this exaggerated large burden. Igeon was silent for a long time, unable to say a word. Tiangong saw that the baggage was too heavy, offering to help Shuhi was quite embarrassed at first, feeling like letting Tiangong do such rough work is so rude. But Tiangong's words left her speechless. He said he had to use movement skills this time to go to Sichuan, and carrying such a heavy thing you will definitely fall behind. Igeon also nodded beside him, saying this is indeed a major issue. As soon as she heard that she was going to hold them back, Shui was anxious now, hurrying to hand over the baggage. Since it's for business, that would still be a task for brother Tiangong. Tiangong said nothing, taking over all the heavy work directly. Igeon gave the order. This long journey is finally officially started. Shuhi followed behind, starting to make calculations in her mind. It's a long way to Sichuan this time. Even if you don't say it, it will take a month or two. If that's the case, wait until this errand is done and we come back. Her contract period, I'm afraid, is all over. After returning from this far journey, her identity there may be earth-shaking changes. Who would have thought Jeok Igeon unknowingly developed an indescribable perspective towards him? This trip to Sichuan is more like her last period with Jeok Igeon. After all, once the contract expires, the two of them have nothing to do with each other anymore. The sky quickly darkened, wilderness, not even a place to stay. Jeok Igeon stopped and said, "It seems tonight we can only sleep here." Jeok Igeon asked in a low voice, "This may be your first time spending the night in the wild. Can it be done?" He quickly expressed her stance. "Of course, no problem. Please don't worry about me, young master." That's what she says, but there is not even moonlight in the deep mountains and old forests. It's spooky indeed. It feels like a beast will pop out at any moment. But then thinking about it, Jeok Igeon beside me is much scarier than any beast or monster. There is such a prominent devil sitting next to me. Those things around you, on the contrary, seem to be nothing at all. This is probably what is called fighting fire with fire. Okay? Although not as good as the conditions in the sect, to be accommodated like this in the wilderness is pretty good. There is a big tree above the head to protect you from the wind and rain. Beneath her is a soft grass mat, plus this set of high-end bedding. It's like a 5-star hotel in the wild. Jeok Igeon's arrangements for herself are quite satisfying. Since it's for herself to sleep with, there is no need to be too particular about it. Just find an open space, throw the bedroll on the ground, and even if it's settled tonight. Sleeping under the stars for the first time, Jeok Igeon was still a little excited, feeling like the atmosphere is really good. But before she could sit firmly, Jeok Igeon suddenly appeared behind her. He stared at the bedding on the ground and asked, "This is where I'll sleep tonight." Jeok Igeon was so frightened that she quickly waved her hand. "How can you say this is possible? A good place for you is on the other side." As a result, the young master didn't listen at all, just lay down on the ground, saying something lightly. "I just prefer this place." Now it was Jeok Igeon's turn to be dumbfounded. "Been busy for a long time. Are you co-authoring a preparation for this man?" Jeok Igeon pointed a finger casually, letting Jeok Igeon sleep on that higher-end bedding. Now Jeok Igeon can't understand it at all. Obviously the conditions there are much better, so what on earth is this young master thinking? Just then, Jeok Igeon suddenly sighed. There are so many stars tonight. Jeok Igeon followed his gaze and looked. The whole starry sky was so brilliant that people couldn't take their eyes away. This quiet moment, it's really the first time seeing it. The sky is full of stars, too beautiful to be true. It's like the whole person has fallen into a sea of stars. But just when Jeok Igeon was captivated, she suddenly stopped moving. I always feel like something's not quite right. This feeling of awareness on my back is definitely not quite right. Someone was definitely staring at her. Jeok Igeon subconsciously turned around, but I found that although Jeok Igeon was lying there, that cold gaze was locked tightly to her. He just lay quietly under the stars, their indescribable emotions hidden in his eyes, completely unpredictable. Jeok Igeon was stunned on the spot for a moment, her mind blank. What does this mean? That scene just now, what's going on? Jeok Igeon is tossing and turning now, her mind full of Jeok Igeon's eyes. Something that should obviously be avoided, and as a result, the two of them just stared at each other for a long time. The more I think about it, the more I feel something is wrong. This went completely beyond the plan. What's even more unexpected is he actually took the initiative to give up the bedding. In the original story, this man is not such a considerate person at all. The current plot doesn't match the original work in my memory at all. The situation seems to be completely out of track. Has the plot really changed? Even Jeok Igeon's character is completely inconsistent with the original work. Who would have thought traveling quickly like this it actually only took half a month to arrive in Sichuan? Looking at the lively scene in front of her, she couldn't believe it. Not only is this trip faster, Jeok Igeon's cultivation level also improved by leaps and bounds. She now has been completely transformed. Jeok Igeon suggested in a low voice, "Find a place to stay first, after all, it's been a long journey, and the next trouble I'm afraid is still to come." He said he was looking for a place to stay, but look at the dusty look now. Jeok Igeon's heart beat loudly. At this point, which inn dares to open its doors for business? Tiangong was not worried at all, smiling and saying, "I'll handle it. I'm sure I can find a good place to let everyone completely open their eyes." "Wait until you really get through the door." Jeok Igeon was completely stunned. This is not an ordinary inn. It looks even more impressive than it looks from the outside. Splendid decoration plus this setup. Not only did I find a place to live now, it's like living directly in a mansion. The host greeted them with a smile. "Welcome to Wei Tower." As soon as this name came out, Jeok Igeon immediately noticed something was wrong. This place is ostensibly a luxury inn, but in fact, it is the secret stronghold of the demon cult. No wonder Tiangong was so confident along the way. It turns out he had already planned it. As long as Jeok Igeon is there is no door in this world that he cannot enter. As the son of the leader, wherever you go, you are treated with the highest standards. The host has arranged everything. Should we eat first or rest first? This setup is almost complete. Critical moment, Jeok Igeon's stomach is really giving away the timing, and the atmosphere was instantly awkward. Fortunately, Jeok Igeon responded quickly, speaking directly, "Eat first." The host is also very efficient in doing things, hurrying to lead people to the table, letting them read the menu slowly. There's really nothing to say about this service. Tiangong suddenly suggested, "Now that we have arrived in Sichuan, why don't you drink some wine?" Qi Lijian didn't object either, nodding in agreement. As soon as I heard there was wine, Shu Hei's mind also became active. Since coming to this world, she hasn't had a chance to taste alcohol yet. Can she take a sip today? Qi Lijian gives the power to choose wine, handing it directly to Shu Hei. This time she was paused. After all, such a matter, usually it's her turn to make the decision. In fact, Shu is already curious. She remembered that she had seen her elders drink a certain kind of wine before. Since there is a chance today, then just order some bamboo leaf green to try it out. As soon as the wine vessel was served, Qi Lijian was rarely considerate for once, saying everyone has had a hard time along the way. Let's eat freely here today. Enough. Shu Hei is really happy now. This journey was tiring, and it seems to be all worth it all of a sudden. Finally, I can taste the legendary flavor. Shu Hei took a big sip with great anticipation, and it turned out that the alcohol was incredibly strong, almost sending her back on the spot. How can this be simple drinking? Just like taking fire. She doubts the experience and wonders at the same time, how do the elders drink it so well? Exactly at this time, Qi Lijian even came over to ask if it tasted good. In order not to be embarrassed, He could only bite the bullet and say it tastes good. He even managed an awkward smile. As a result, I completely lost control now. Qi Lijian actually believed it to be true, having to fill her cup with his own hands, telling her to drink enough today. This time I really brought it upon myself. Even if I want to refuse, I can't find any reason. Qi Lijian is quite generous, saying the wine supply here is enough, and if it's not enough, you can order more. But Shu Hei's heart is full of bitterness now. She turned around and asked Tiangong if he wanted to drink something. It turns out that Tiangong is very self-disciplined, talking about being a good bodyguard when away from home. This professionalism is really admirable, but Shu Hei can't even back out now. After all, I ordered the wine myself. If you take 2 sips and get scared, that's too embarrassing. She stared at the reflection in the cup, suddenly remembering her past life. Those are workers who have experienced many encounters. What kind of big scene in a social setting have you never seen? Since tolerance is in our background in this life, then just give it a try. Who is afraid of whom? Just do it. I thought I was a master just now, but as a result, reality hit me too quickly. Shu Hei is completely out of it now. Why is the cup in front of me moving on its own? The most unexpected thing is, this dish hasn't been served yet, and she just told her whole perspective right here. Who would have thought? Just now I was talking confidently, now she actually fell directly into Qi Lijian's arms. What a deep sleep. I've only had so many drinks, and Shu Hei fell asleep completely. It seems that along this way she was really exhausted to the limit. Tiangong couldn't help but sigh. This girl is really hardworking, just learn some movement skills and he can actually keep up with us. There is really nothing to say about this martial arts talent. Qi Lijian stared at the sleeping Shu Hei, repeating the word talent in a low voice. If this is really just talent, that would make things simpler. Just be afraid the source of this power is not a talent at all. Who would have thought Qi Lijian actually accommodates her to such an extent, not only having to take her back in person, but don't even let others touch her? Tiangong watched from the side and was stunned for a while. Where is the master and servant dynamic here? This is obviously a real connection. But just after Shu Hei settled down, Qi Lijian suddenly changed, coldly asking about the progress of the investigation. Tiangong reported quickly, saying, this girl has a very clear background, no problem found at all. This is strange. The more problems cannot be found, on the contrary. It shows that the matter is deeper. Checked for so long, there is no flaw at all at the noodle shop. 17 years ago, an old lady suddenly appeared with a baby in her arms. In addition to this, everything is too normal. Tiangong lowered his head and admitted nothing has been found so far. Qi Lijian couldn't figure it out. In this world, how could someone wipe the mark so cleanly? Who is this old lady? Just when the situation is at a standstill, Tiangong suddenly made a suggestion. Otherwise, go ask Elder Bao Jinyang for advice. Qi Lijian was stunned for a moment. That's his uncle. It seems like this after all. The elder will be involved. Bao Jinyang actually put the treasure from the bottom of his collection. The whole jar was given to Shu Hei, and that was his most proud work. Usually don't even want to be touched by others. Although this elder has a unique personality, he would never give such a big gift for no reason, unless he had already recognized Shu Hei's identity. Qi Lijian suddenly remembered when they first met, his uncle's attitude was very unusual. It's obviously the first time they met, but he takes special care of this little girl. It seems that in this pharmacy there must be some hidden secret. Qi Lijian decided, as soon as I get back, I'll ask my uncle immediately. After the light has just receded, Qi Lijian was the only one left in the room. Qi Lijian just stayed by the bed like this, looking at the sleeping Shu Hei. The aura of unknown origin on her body is always a huge hidden concern. Checked for so long, not even a clue, and this made him feel very uncertain. The reason why I kept her by my side in the first place was simply because this girl is too direct. How dare you show that you avoid him so much, even treating him as some kind of disaster. But now, things are obviously not that simple. This girl whose details can't be found out, how many secrets are still hidden? I wanted to control the whole situation, but it turned out that I was the one who got caught up. Whenever she sees another man approaching her, I feel inexplicably agitated, especially seeing her in danger. That kind of out-of-control response was never there before. The reason why I had to bring her to Sichuan was actually I'm concerned about the old man at home taking her away while I'm not paying attention. This feeling I've never had before. What's going on? We can't discuss this matter with anyone, and I can't figure it out on my own. In this case, then keep her by your side. First, see how many secrets she has. It's finally dawn. Shuei woke up in a daze, and as a result, as soon as she moved, this head hurt severely. She couldn't help mumbling, "Why does it look like my head is splitting? This wine has too much stamina." Shuei regrets it so much now, vowing never to touch bamboo leaf green again. I feel terrible in my stomach. As a result, I turned around and almost scared my senses away. The second young master is actually sitting in the room. Qi Lijian looked calm, and he also asked her if her stomach felt better. He said he saw her curious look yesterday and thought it was a huge capacity, but as a result, it was completely gone after just a few cups. Shuei, he could only apologize in embarrassment. Who would have thought that this body is so incapable of drinking? But this early in the morning, why did he come here suddenly? Didn't you agree to leave only in the afternoon? Qi Lijian might as well just do it, saying he wanted to teach her a secret method to relieve the hangover, saving herself the trouble of dealing with that next time. Shohei's eyes lit up when she heard this, without saying anything, just sitting cross-legged on the spot. This move is quick and easy. Even Qi Lijian praised her for her quick reaction. She smiled. This will be useful in the future, must study hard. As told, she began to channel the energy in her body, running a large cycle. As soon as the result was felt, I feel like something unaligned is running around in my body. Qi Lijian reminded me. Do you feel those elements? That's the alcohol effect that hasn't been eliminated yet. Qi Lijian said it lightly, saying that all she needs to do is use her true energy to clear the alcohol effect, then just process it with heat. Hearing these words, Shui's mind was filled with questions. Is this standard phrasing? How to catch it? How to process it? Completely beyond the scope of understanding. No choice, I can only bite the bullet and figure it out on my own, trying to mobilize the power in my body to see if this works. Who would have thought this move? The movement is so clear, the blue light exploded instantly. Shui's whole body was surrounded by this power. At this moment, she finally got it. It turns out that Qi Lijian said to clear it, that's what it means. That dull feeling was swept away. This is excellent. My head was hurting intensely just now I feel nothing at all. She felt light all over. The whole person is simply restored with full energy. This wave of actions is more effective than any recovery medicine. Wait a moment, Shuei suddenly realized something was wrong. This pungent smell of old wine, could it be that it emanated from herself? Qi Lijian is quite straightforward. First word spoken, just letting her take a bath quickly. Shuei was so embarrassed that she wanted to find a crack in the ground and crawl in, could only respond weakly. Now she just wants to fade where she is. I don't want to face this difficult situation anymore. Qi Lijian has been waiting in the yard for a long time. Look at this posture. Apparently he felt that Shuei moved too slowly. Tiangong hurriedly came to the side to smooth things over. It's the first time a girl wears this kind of attire. It definitely takes some time to get used to it. Just then the door finally opened. Shui's appearance is like a different person. She is holding up her skirt, asking hesitantly, wearing such expensive clothes. Is it really okay? Shuhi looked at this gorgeous dress, her heart beating. I feel like I am a maid. It's too noticeable to dress like this. Qi Lijian didn't take it seriously at all, saying this is just to prepare for the next event, telling her not to think so much. Shuei still felt that it was too costly, muttering softly, in fact, just rent one. Qi Lijian was silent for a moment, suddenly stared at her and said, this outfit suits you very well, very nice. This sudden compliment, Shuei didn't process it at all. Even though I know it might just be a polite word, but I still can't help but feel a little focused in my heart. Before she could come to her senses, Qi Lijian handed over another bamboo hat, letting her cover up quickly. Qi Lijian specially explained, the next place is full of discreet transactions. For safety reasons, Shuei must cover her face tightly. Look at this hat with black gauze on top. Shuei understood in her heart, this layer of gauze is her next protection. The two of them changed their attire and set off immediately. Qi Lijian personally led the way. The target is the rumored black market. Night falls and the black market is already full of people. Look around, they are all covered by bamboo hats. Everyone tacitly hides their identity in a place like this. Even if it's just a look, it may cause unexpected troubles. This is the legendary underground auction. It's only open once a year, and the scene is bigger than imagined. Shuei looked at the secretive people around her, knowing very well that although this place has a mysterious background, the treasures taken out are definitely genuine. Qi Lijian has already taken his seat. I saw her still standing next to him, urging her to sit next to him quickly. Just then, the host on stage finally showed up. He preferred to do it simply, not a word of nonsense, directly announcing the start of the auction. This time, the whole audience's attention was aroused. The first item is now on the market. It's the Wind Soul pill left behind by the Wind Soul sect. It is said that this sect was very good at refining medicine. It's a pity that the demon cult later eliminated the group. The host said this, and he also criticized the demon sect, by the way. But as soon as these words came out, Shuei felt at a loss for a moment. After all, their current status, it does sound a bit direct. The host is still showing off on stage, saying they took this treasure out of the secret room, and even those people from the demon cult were not found back then. This is really interesting, criticizing someone in front of the rightful owner, also showing off things that others haven't grabbed. The starting price is simply 300,000, and prices off the market are soaring. 400,000, and prices off the market are soaring. 400,000, 500,000, these people are just going crazy. Shui secretly glanced at Qi Lijian next to him. It stands to reason that this panacea, he should have some reaction at least. What's the result? This man is sitting there, not taking it seriously at all. This is the character of Qi Lijian. As long as it's something he doesn't focus on, even if others fight for it, he wouldn't even raise his eyelids. Keep everyone waiting for a long time. With the sound of wheels, the real highlight of today is finally on the stage. What the host said directly brought the atmosphere of the whole place to the highest point. He said that everyone here, most of them came here just for this treasure. Shui stared at the stage. She knows very well this is why Qi Lijian traveled thousands of miles to come to Sichuan. The only reason, the whole audience is waiting for this moment. This final treasure, its name is, the host finally revealed the answer. This is the legendary sky-breaking sword. The starting price is directly set at 2 million. The words just fell, and it was completely buzzing off the field. 3 million, 4 million. The prices are so shocking. Shui he saw clearly in the audience. The background of this sword is really great. Except knowing that it once belonged to the Sword Emperor, no one knows its true origin. No one knows who made it, no one knows who made it, no one knows how long it has existed. On this sword there seems to be some unknown power hidden inside. Whoever gets this sword will win the world. Just because of this rumor, countless martial arts masters went crazy. In the original story, Qi Lijian did indeed get the sword, and completely unified the world. But Shui knew very well that's because Qi Lijian himself is exceptionally strong. It actually has little to do with this sword. But this client obviously doesn't think so. He directly raised his hand, and a price was quoted that made the whole audience quiet. 50 million. As soon as the sky-high price of 50 million came out, the whole place was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. The host asked 3 times in a row, no one dares to raise the price anymore. No one dares to raise the price anymore. As the hammer falls heavily, the sky-breaking divine sword officially belongs to Qi Lijian. Shui finally felt stable now. The plot goes round and round, finally back on the track of the original work. But just when everyone thought they were about to leave, the host suddenly announced, today there is one last treasure. As soon as the box is opened, inside is a string of colorful bracelets. It is said that just give it to the one you love, it can make the relationship between 2 people last forever. Who would have thought? This bracelet looks beautiful, but it turned out to be the biggest mistake in the history of the black market, because they have no idea how valuable this thing is. Shui He looked focused in the audience. Such a good treasure, actually only planning to sell it for 300,000? This is simply undervalued. But before she could finish complaining, the man next to her took action again. Qi Lijian directly tripled the price. 1 million, now the whole place was completely buzzing. No one expected he would actually pay such a high price for a string of bracelets. Shui He really couldn't sit still now. She turned her head, lowered her voice, and asked Qi Lijian, do you know what that is? I actually spent 1 million to buy a bracelet. Are you crazy? In Shui He's eyes, this is simply the most outrageous act of spending. But Qi Lijian's next reaction left her completely speechless. Qi Lijian casually pulled out the newly bought sword. It sounds pretty good, in fact, my heart has already rejoiced. Shui could see clearly from the sidelines. Came all the way to Sichuan. If you don't secure it, it's really a big loss. Compared to this sword, what puzzled her even more was another treasure. This string of pink beads. What kind of unexpected choice is this? Although it was his own money spent, Shui still couldn't help but wonder. When he bought this thing, what were you thinking about? Shui was still muttering in her heart. This string of pink beads. Who are you giving it to? As a result, Qi Lijian suddenly came over asking her if she wanted to try it on. Shui was completely confused now, asking subconsciously, did you buy it for me? Qi Lijian looked like it was natural, saying he just saw her staring at it, thought she wanted it very much. Been working for a long time, this string of beads looks like a large expenditure, but it was bought especially for her. Faced with such an expensive gift, Shui's first reaction was to refuse. Jewelry of this level makes her feel a lot of pressure. Qi Lijian was silent for a moment after hearing this, saying casually, since you don't want it, then there's no use keeping this thing, just throw it away. Shui almost jumped up after hearing this, that's 1 million taels of silver, just throw it away. This level of waste is simply intense. But Qi Lijian is not finished yet, looking at the string of beads in his hand and saying, what if you throw it away and someone else picks it up? That's more troublesome. It's better to just destroy it. Watch as his hands begin to exert force. Shui was completely anxious now. This is not a gift, this was simply testing her reaction. Seeing that Qi Lijian really dared to take action, Shui was completely anxious now, shouting for him to stop immediately. This is 1 million taels. In order to keep this string of treasures, she could only change her expression on the spot, saying that since the young master insisted on throwing it away, then she reluctantly accepted it. Only then did Qi Lijian stop, replying calmly, what a wise decision. Shui holds a heavy string of beads, still haven't recovered from the shock just now. Tiangang opened the door and walked in, his tone becoming extremely serious. He said it was time to leave. Those pursuers outside are already starting to gather here. It seems that this string of beads has not been warmed up yet, and real trouble is already at your door. The three of them hurried on without stopping, getting further and further away from the capital. Xu Yi looked at the road in front of her, knowing very well we will be arriving at the main compound soon. This should have been the moment she was most looking forward to. Just go back there. She can follow the original plan and get away completely. But look at the beads on her wrist. She actually hesitated a little bit. The days spent with Qi Lijian, it seems better than she expected. Much more interesting. He will obviously be free soon, yet I feel a little empty in my heart for no reason. Just when she was thinking wildly the previous situation, something suddenly didn't feel right. What kind of unique gift is this? This is simply a priceless treasure. Its real name is the Colorful Universe. Made of the colorful universe. Made of the finest stone. The most unexpected thing is its function. Just open the mechanism inside, and the speed of practicing internal strength can be doubled several times. This is simply an advantage. Shehi originally had a notable amount of internal strength. If we add the benefit of this string of beads, how terrifying is that strength? She can't even think of such a good thing. It seems now becoming a top master is no longer a dream. Qi Lijian brought up old matters while walking, ridiculing Xue He for insisting that she was hesitant just now, and as a result I can harvest faster than anyone else now. Xu He quickly explained, I was just surprised by this gift just now. I didn't have time to say thank you properly, and I will definitely repay this kindness in the future. Unexpectedly, Qi Lijian just smiled lightly, saying, as long as you like it, I'm happy too. As soon as these words came out, it completely puzzled Xu He. Is this still the moody young master? But the atmosphere is just right, and there was a sudden noise in the bushes nearby. The two of them instantly became alert. It seems what should come finally came. The movement in the trees finally appeared. A group of men in black, intense. The road was immediately blocked. Qi Lijian was not surprised at all, instead saying, lightly, they are finally here. Only then did Xue hear. Only then did Xue react. Now it's a confrontation with no escape. Look at Qi Lijian's appearance. He was clearly waiting here on purpose for someone to come to his door. The leader of the men in black doesn't talk nonsense either, pointing at Qi Lijian and threatening, if you want to live, just hand over that sword. These people have quite an appetite. Tiangong is preparing to draw his sword to fight, but Qi Lijian stretched out his hand to stop him. Qi Lijian said while drawing his sword, no need for you to do anything, I'll handle it in person. Look at his calm look. These men in black, I'm afraid, might have encountered the wrong target completely. Qi Lijian sneered, saying that he could use this group of people as a testing stone to see how fast this new sword is. He turned around and told Xue He, this is your first time watching actual combat. Open your eyes and study hard. The words just fell, and Qi Lijian had already rushed out. A powerful sword energy suddenly exploded. The man in black opposite has not yet come to his senses. The weapon in his hand was buzzing and the whole person was directly overturned. Xue He looked at it and was stunned. This move looks more and more familiar to her. Could this be the first form of the legendary sword style? Defeating the opposition. Looking at the glowing sword in Qi Lijian's hand, Xue finally realized the real display officially starts now. Qi Lijian's figure shuttled among the enemy formations. Xue recognized it at a glance. This is exactly the step technique he taught her, and she found Qi Lijian's speed is not very fast, just enough for her to see every detail. Is he using his engagement as a teaching material for her? Just then, a man in black suddenly appeared from the side. Xue He was so anxious that she yelled to be careful, but Qi Lijian didn't even look back. He didn't take this kind of sneak attack seriously at all, and the whole person behaved extremely calmly. Immediately afterwards, a flash instantly cut through the night. This time the sneak attack will be in bad luck. Blood was drawn on the floor. Xue He was stunned on the spot, looking at this scene before her. Only then did she realize how mistaken she was. Why did she think Qi Lijian had changed? Watch him handle the situation in the enemy camp. Listen to those cries. Such decisive means it's obviously exactly the same as in the original work. He's not a savior at all, but a formidable fighter. This moment Xue finally woke up, blood marked the scene, and there's no warmth in those eyes. It turns out he has never changed. He is still the same. The long sword in Qi Lijian's hand brought a sudden burst of terrifying energy. This sense of pressure, the air around almost solidified. Xue He could see clearly from the side. This move, this aura. It's exactly as described in the original work. Late at night there was an uneasy sound in the room. Xue suddenly sat up from the bed. It's still the same nightmare as yesterday. It seems like this, it's really endless. Since she saw the conflict with her own eyes 2 days ago, Xue can no longer sleep peacefully. In that intense environment, Qi Lijian is simply a central figure. He looks unyielding. It has become a memory that she can't escape from. In the original work, those who show fear, in the end, everything didn't turn out well. Because what Qi Lijian dislikes the most is weakness. In order to survive, Xue can only try her best to remain unnoticed. But today's serving of soup is so red that it makes a person feel uneasy. Qi Lijian stared at her and asked, no appetite. Xue quickly avoided direct explanation. Nothing. Even if it's not all because of Qi Lijian, if she wants to survive in this martial arts world, Xue He must adapt to this kind of life. No matter how difficult it is, now I can only bite the bullet and hold on. And the most important thing is never to be overly sentimental. I feel that Qi Lijian is different from the original work. Before leaving here completely, you must keep an absolutely safe distance from him. In the middle of the night, this scent is so unusual. He knew very well the situation is developing. After all, there's still no way to avoid it. Just then, suddenly there was a hand beside the windowsill. A dark shadow moved very fast, jumping directly into the house. The visitor was wearing a mask full of purpose. He stared at Shui, said hello coldly. Yan Yucheng, long time no see. Sure enough, I guessed it right. This uninvited guest in front of me is actually Yan Yucheng in the original novel. He dares to intercept auction items, a unique character who goes around doing what he deems right. It's also Shui's, besides Tiangong, most preferred character. Yan Yucheng was also confused now, staring at her and asking questions repeatedly. Have we met? How on earth did you know my name? Shuihe replied calmly, I know more than that. Shuihe's opening directly revealed all Yan Yucheng's little secrets. Not only did I know that he was here for the bracelet, even his hidden interest in the eldest lady of the Tang family. Everything was clearly stated. Now Yan Yucheng couldn't sit still at all. This is the deepest secret he keeps in his mind. He stared at Shuihe, his voice changing its tone. Who are you? How come you even know such a thing? Shui acted very calmly. It's too complicated to explain your identity. She might as well show her hand directly. Just think of me as someone bringing in your assistance specifically. As soon as these words came out, Yan Yucheng was obviously shaken. He asked tentatively, do you know Miss Tang? Shui made up this explanation, meaning her expression was steady, and her expression was steady and her heart rate normal. She directly directed Yan Yucheng, saying that he and Miss Tang are good associates, and these secrets are all shared by people themselves. Yan Yucheng, who was intense just now, as soon as he heard the name of his interest, changed his expression faster than turning pages. His tone softened instantly, anxious to find out what Miss Tang thinks of him. Shui looked at him like this, already knowing everything in her heart. It seems that no matter how powerful the master is, as soon as they encounter feelings, they will still be completely guided. Yan Yucheng is still worrying about outcomes. Shui deliberately cleared her throat, throwing out the final point. One thing I'm pretty sure of. Shui made it clear directly. Want to secure Miss Tang with this red bracelet. It's simply impractical. If you don't do it right, it will make people even more distant. After all, in the original novel, Yan Yucheng really tried his best to present the items. What's the result? This kind of approach of trying to secure affection with objects will only make the other party feel their personality has been misjudged. Presenting this gift, not only did he not get anything positive, instead Miss Tang was completely disappointed. In the end, she refused directly on the spot. Actually, to tell the truth, she rejected Yan Yucheng at that time, and there is a deeper reason behind it. But anyway, because of this bracelet, his impression in people's minds completely hit rock bottom. This red bracelet was originally the item that Yan Yucheng changed his path with. As long as he can unlock the secret inside, he is unmatched at a young age. But now, this advantage was redirected by Shuihe. Looking at the individual in front of me who was deprived of his opportunity, she really felt a little responsible. To compensate him, Shui asked him to wait where he was, and she rushed to get something by herself. After a while, she came back with a unique item, putting it directly into Yan Yucheng's hand and saying, take it. Yan Yucheng took what Shuihe handed over, asking with a puzzled look on his face, what on earth is this? Shui's tone was very certain. The content on this is definitely more useful than that red bracelet. He didn't take it seriously at all, wondering what great things these pieces of paper can do, but he just took a look at it, and the whole person was stunned in place, unable to believe his eyes at all. How was this possible? Look at him looking so surprised. Shuihe was not surprised at all. After all, this is the resource she prepared. Written on these pieces of paper was all detailed information about Miss Tang, from personality preferences to favorite locations. They were all reviewed thoroughly by Shuihe. As long as Yan Yucheng is not foolish, relying on this guide to pursuing his interests definitely gives a perfect opportunity. Watch him stare at the notes in fascination, Shui said with a smile. Look at the rest slowly when you go back. And before anyone else finds out, this late-night visitor better leave. Quickly. Before leaving, Yan Yucheng couldn't help but ask, girl, what is your name? Anyway, we won't see each other again, so it doesn't hurt to tell him. She left her name clearly. My name is Shuihe. This is her first time changing the original plot as she wished. Although I don't know if it's right or wrong. But looking at those two people who obviously suit each other and have always missed out due to misunderstanding, she really can't stand it anymore. As for Yan Yucheng, looking at this guide in his hand, he was completely amazed. I guess he won't be able to sleep at all tonight. He knew very well. Watching individuals miss out is really an unfortunate thing. So sometimes, in order to enable them to achieve positive results, acting as a guide has to be taken seriously. In the originally peaceful forest, the atmosphere suddenly became focused. Jeok Igeon asked in a low voice, did you see? Shuihe hasn't reacted yet, and this scene before her made her completely pause. Moving quickly, finally I can see the town in the distance. Shuihe was so excited and Jeok Igeon nodded aside, saying they could enter the city soon. Shuihe feels like returning to base now. She left too quickly and didn't even have time to say goodbye to Grandma. She secretly vowed in her heart, the first thing I do when I go back is to see my grandma. Jeok Igeon looked at her back. He was actually quite puzzled. He didn't expect Shuihe to be able to keep up with him all the way. It seems that the skills given are really powerful, plus she has a good foundation, simply transformed. But how could he know Shui actually has something hidden, all because of the unique item on her wrist? She is making a small calculation in her mind, just using it quietly. Li Jian and Tiangong will never find out. I originally thought this trip would take a long time, but I didn't expect to come back after only a month. Shui was thinking about it in her heart. Only 2 weeks left on the contract. As a professional, she has to quickly find a successor for Li Jian, making the transition work seamless. We are about to enter the city and Shui took the initiative to speak. She said that she would resume her status as a maid immediately after returning to the city, making up for all the work she missed during this period. As a result, Li Jian didn't even think about it, rejecting directly no. He continued in a serious tone. After entering the city, you have to go somewhere with me first. Li Jian led the way, and the two came to a magnificent structure. As soon as he walked in, he asked for people directly. Where is the doctor? Shui he finally understood now. After all this time, Li Jian brought her to see a doctor. But she was even more puzzled. Since I am here to see a doctor, why did Li Jian have to take her with him? Li Jian was stopped this time and his subordinates quickly intervened, saying that the master was meeting a prominent guest inside, so you have to ask him to wait outside for a while. Li Jian obviously didn't accept this. Let him wait here? The subordinates were so frightened that they couldn't even speak clearly, could only try their best to explain. Shui looked on from the side, murmuring in her heart. Li Jian is usually not so impatient, so it seems that what we have to do this time is no small matter. She tried hard to recall the plot in the original work, but I can't match the details.